listening to That's Pretty Dark,
the podcast where we talk about all the entertainment that scared us as children
and still haunts us as adults. So grab your flashlight and join us as we take a frightfully nostalgic look over our shoulders.
And under our beds.
And in our closets.
And together, we'll realize, whoa, that's pretty dark. Well, my world's on fire. How about yours?
I wasn't expecting that.
The line is, that's the way I like it, and I'll never get bored. Because, hey, now, you're an all-star.
Keep going.
Get your game on. Go play.
Wow.
Hey, now, you're a rock star.
I don't feel
Get
like
the
it.
show on,
sure.
Christian. Did you know that all that glitters is gold?
Jesus Christ.
Did you know that
Just quitting the
unicorns
show.
break the mold?
I did know that, actually. Yes. I've all been the magical unicorn stuff lately.
Well, thank God. Somebody's got to be.
My
Hey,
God.
y'all. We're here. We're barely hanging on.
We're barely making it.
I can't find my image.
But we're both
my
in
image is reversed.
Our Parapods merch.
Parapod
Parapod
This is the
sweatshirt.
softest sweater hoodie thing that I've ever owned, I think.
It's so
Shout out
soft.
to
It's so
Parapods,
soft.
our new network. If you didn't hear from the last episode, we're really excited.
We're very excited. We promise we're not going to keep talking about it every
Parapod.
episode that we open from now on for the rest of all time.
Hey, I make no promises.
But it might happen.
Make zero promises.
Yeah, we're both on the verge of death this evening, so we're trying to find the magic where it is. You know, like, I don't know if we can let it come to us anymore, because, you know, sometimes it doesn't want to do that.
Sometimes
so you
it
gotta go
doesn't.
seek it
Magic
out.
is a fickle friend.
Yeah, it sure is.
But we find it as often as we can here on That's Pretty Dark, where my
That's
name is
Pretty Dark.
Kaylin.
My name is Christian. Getting over a cold or whatever happened to my
who
family
knows?
last week. We thought we were going to die.
If you're out there, Darklings, right now, just take a deep breath through your very clear nasal passages.
If not,
and
get your
think of
neti
us
pot
fondly.
and do the thing. And
Yeah,
then
or do
clear out
that.
your sinuses
I
and
do
then
love
take a
a good
deep
neti
breath.
pot. I'm not going to lie to you.
I've never used one. They terrify me.
Every time I do it, I think of the brain-eating amoeba and pour one out for him, you know?
Yeah, got to. Yeah, so, you know, if you're in the winter of sickness, don't worry, because spring is coming.
I felt it today.
Yeah, it's
I
warm.
might even be a little sunburned. I worked outside this morning.
Yeah, I got some sun this weekend. Yeah. The azaleas are in bloom, and it's just such a timely episode. It's such a good time to be doing this one, because one of the whole points of the story is like that spring is going to come. It's like the opposite of
it's
Game of
going
Thrones, like
to
the
come.
winter is coming. It's like the last unicorn is spring is coming.
And that's the underlying thing. Like, winter is coming, so is spring.
Always.
You know what I mean?
It's always
every time.
closely behind, which is funny because we've talked about this so many times on the show, like autumn being the precipice for like the end of the year and like you know, entering into winter
We talk
times,
a lot
the
about
season
endings,
of death and everything.
honestly, really frequently.
We love small talk about the weather and the seasons changing and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, man, spring is inevitable. The sun always returns, life always returns. Perhaps that's why it's always spring in a unicorn's wood.
Weather is one thing, but I think talk of the season should get a rebranding, because humans as a whole, we don't do enough by season. Everything that's natural, everything that occurs in a natural like loop or orbit, it happens in a season, it happens in a cycle. And capitalism really doesn't let us adhere to that very closely.
That's true.
And I think it should.
Although I will
if you're
say,
asking me.
I do hate when people talk about like a point or period in their life. Like I could say like a chapter.
No.
And they say,
I'm not talking about
I'm
like
in this
Bible
season,
school Becky.
You know what I mean?
That's not what I mean.
I'm in a season of change right now.
No.
Well, guess what, Becky? Every season's a season of change, because seasons always be changing, Bex. You know, like, get it together.
Bex.
I just want to say again, before we jump in, how much I loved this novel, reading this novel, and I love this story. And watching the movie again much more closely, I found a lot more to appreciate about it, I have to say. Mostly the hand-drawn animation, because it's, you know, it's pretty.
And rare in our world today.
Like a unicorn. But also what this film could have meant or could mean to a developing mind. So, although I don't have any nostalgic feelings, you don't either, we don't have nostalgic feelings for this movie.
No, but so many of you do, and we see you,
guys.
we're with you, we understand. We've gotten some emails.
Yeah. I feel like I finally understand like the point of it now. I'm like, I got it. Okay, I get it.
I mean, I understand it. It's just like, having not felt it in my childhood, I feel differently about it, but that doesn't mean that I don't understand like what this could do for someone in that space.
For a number of reasons. Yeah.
In part one, you
people.
guys heard me. I talked about how, like, all the cold hard facts of, how this movie came to be, but it was like, I feel a lot of distance here. And it doesn't make sense to me that I felt so much distance because this concept, this idea, the existentialism, are you the last of your kind? Are you the only one that feels this way? Is this only you? Like that, like, I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare. I've lived so much of my life in that space, being a neurodivergent kid, being homeschooled, being, growing up in a very, very conservative place. Like, I have always felt isolated, and to not even know those things about myself for a long time. So to find someone else of your ilk, like of your kind, is still the most magical thing that happens in my life. And so I get it. Like, I do fully get that. I understand that. And I want to make that abundantly clear that is a very, very near and dear thing to my heart and soul. Yeah.
We're all
I guess I just
unicorns.
missed the boat on watching this movie at the right moment in my life. You know what I mean?
And that makes sense. That happens.
But through this conversation today, I think we're both going to heal some of those parts of ourselves. And hopefully we're going to gain from this film what all of you Darklings have been screaming at us for so many years.
And I want to say, too, that, we're going to talk about some specific themes. We're going to get into certain takeaways from this movie and why it has been significant for people. But it's one of those that you can kind of apply whatever meaning you want to it because it's such an accessible, attainable storyline. It's a coming of age story without being a coming of age story.
Yeah.
It's just one of those that you can kind of
coming
go,
of
this is
life,
important to me.
Human. Yeah.
If you're in a season of change and you just need to reach out and touch some of your own kind out there. This is just a story that makes you feel seen and heard. And I think that's why it's so important.
Yeah.
And
feeling seen and heard is the most important thing, truly.
In many ways, The Last Unicorn is a love letter to nature, freedom, and life, both old and new. It speaks to our fascination with immortality while adhering to the philosophy that mortality itself is what gives life its truest meanings. So the main themes of this film are magic, identity crisis, and mortality versus immortality. And, like much of the pretty dark media that we cover, these are very adult themes. I wouldn't say inappropriate for children, but definitely very heavy for children.
They're existential. They're human. I mean, all
human
humans feel
issue,
it,
right?
Regardless of what age you are.
Not an age issue. But I do think it would be difficult for a child's mind to process. Like we said, we've had a lot of people write in to say that they loved this movie growing up. It's one of their favorites, but then they watched it again as an adult and they came back and said, it was very different from what I remember as a kid.
From this perspective, it feels
this was an eye-opening experience.
Which we love. I mean, that's part of why we are here. That's why we're sitting here today, is the fact that it's not always the same moment to moment. It's not always the same perspective that you're going to see things from.
Right. That's just part of growing up.
Right. As you grow, as you learn more, your perspectives change.
One of the biggest themes of this movie.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
But that's part of the history of this film as well, because Beagle didn't write a children's book.
No.
He wrote a fantasy novel that's suitable for all ages, but there is a fair amount of language in this book. And that's why there's language in this movie, even though it had a G rating.
Damn.
Because they just didn't give a damn.
Nice.
And although this book may well have been in my school library growing up, all the dams would have been marked out in black Sharpie. I can still hear Mrs. Johnson saying, I don't know why somebody would want to ruin a good story with bad language.
I know a lot of people who feel that way.
I say, the more dams, the merrier. More dams, more dams. Give us more dams. I think the world needs more dams. And, not to keep delaying things, but before we do jump into the story, we asked the question in part 1, did anyone ever actually believe in unicorns? Well, I shook the magic 8-ball, and all signs point to yes. They did. There is some old world belief in unicorns, and for pretty good reasons, I would say.
Yeah, like Dapper, Mr. Olford Dapper from part 1.
Olford Dapper.
He believed deeply.
And, Peter Beagle, who just desperately wanted to believe.
And I understand.
I want to believe as well. The question remains as to whether or not unicorns have ever actually existed. And although not all signs point to yes, some do. From what I can tell, The earliest evidence of unicorn belief and or existence comes from the Indus Valley, which was a Bronze Age civilization in South Asia, and one of the three dominant civilizations at that time, along with Egypt and Mesopotamia. So they were kind of a big deal. This timeline is roughly 2000 BCE. And the Indus Valley Civilization, also known as the IVC for short, were known for carving stamp seals out of soapstone. Say that 5 times fast. Stamp seals out of soapstone. And
seals.
You can't even do it. You can't do
it.
Stamp seals out of soapstone. Stamp seals out of soapstone. Stamp seals. I can't.
Look at you.
I had some practice. And the most common image that they used on these stamp seals made out of soapstone was a cow-like creature with a single horn. So, body of a cow, horn of a goddess. But the wildest thing about this is that archaeologists say that the IVC unicorn has no direct connection with later unicorn motifs observed in other parts of the world. Meaning that unicorns have been revered by different people in different parts of the world at different points in history for a long time.
Okay.
So maybe they were real at one
That's
point.
that's a good soup for mythology.
I
Something
love
originated
mythological
somewhere.
soup, man. Tasty. Soapstone. It's unclear whether or not the Hindu actually believed in the existence of unicorns or if it was more of a mythological sort of story type of deal. But the ancient Greeks absolutely believed in unicorns. They thought that unicorns came from the wondrous, distant land of India.
Oh.
All thanks to the Greek historian Ctesias, who collected stories about India from silk traders from Serica, which was a country just north of India. It was like word of mouth, game of telephone. They sometimes trade in India because they're kind of live close, but then they're on the Silk Road coming to sell their peddle their wares in Persia, of all places, where this guy then collected information and then wrote an entire book on it, on India. He actually introduced the unicorn to the Western world. This is the first written reference of the unicorn. But he described it as a wild ass with a single horn, which is significant because he became known as India's ass. the Indian ass. Yeah, the ass of India. But he also introduced many other creatures to the Western world at the same time, including the talking parrot, the Indian elephant, long-tailed monkeys, dogs the size of lions, pygmies, and the manticore.
Well, there were a couple of those where I was like, hey, that's not so far
I know.
off.
See, it's a blend of real and not real things. So, who was to argue? It was a talking bird. What do you mean?
Certainly not me. I've myself heard a bird say words, so what are you going to do?
I have also heard a bird say words. But from there, one-horned creatures were described by Aristotle, Antigonus, Strabo, Pliny the Elder, many of which were either Ctesias' Indian ass or the Indian rhino, which is a real type of rhino that has one horn.
Okay.
But should never be mistaken for what we consider to be a unicorn.
Do all rhinos have one horn?
No.
No, they have
the ones that we think of have two, but there's an Indian rhino that has one. And a 3rd century Roman writer and teacher named Aelian was the first to describe the unicorn as a type of horse rather than a cow or donkey or rhino. But then there was a 6th century Grecian named Cosmas who traveled to India and ancient Ethiopia, where he saw 4 bronze unicorn statues in the palace of the Ethiopian king. And he described them as invincible beasts whose strength lies within their horn, which is where that whole mythos comes from, is the horn has the power. Probably because it's very phallic.
Their horn can pierce the sky. It's an office deep cut. Sorry.
But again, I think it's because the horn's phallic. So that's obviously where all the power lives.
Yep. We all subscribe to that fully.
Yeah, we all believe in the power.
Makes a lot of sense. Biologically sensical.
Powerful horns.
I hope you can hear my sarcasm.
And having its reputation for being strong, invincible, or untamable, the Latin, that's the unicorn, by the way, not the unicorn's phallic horn.
Good.
The Latin and King James versions of the Bible both use the word unicorn in place of the Hebrew reem or reem, which was mentioned 9 times in the Hebrew Bible to describe an animal of immense strength. So moving into the Middle Ages, Unicorn symbolism had not only historical background, but now also biblical, which explains a lot. Because medieval artists and writers began depicting unicorns as symbols of purity, even going so far as to use the unicorn as a representation of Christ himself. And I hate to say this, I hate it, but that's why unicorns are white.
Oh.
Because they're pure. And that's why Jesus is white, and that's why unicorns are white, because they're all pure, because white's good, and anything else is bad.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Man, I've been seeing some very rough videos on social media of people in the 1970s protesting integration.
Yeah.
During like the integration after segregation. And,
it happened.
Yeah. We've come so far and yet we haven't, and it is astounding. It is absolutely astounding.
Yeah.
Just how much that disgusting rhetoric permeates thinking across the country, really. I mean, Southeast especially, but holy shit, dude.
So Santa wasn't white? Jesus wasn't white?
Nope.
Unicorns wouldn't be white. I don't know why anybody thinks they would be, but if they were real, they wouldn't be white.
No.
They'd be all
if
different.
They were real, they would be like a rainbow of colors.
They would. Yes, we do talk about that. But they would actually probably just be like a beigeish, brownish, or like a dark brown or black color. Like they'd probably just be like a regular horse,
Yeah.
There are white horses, but not every horse is white, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's why unicorns are white. And that's also why they're partial to virgins. Not just because they are pure as well.
If we want to talk about another myth, another complete and total myth fabricated by the patriarchy and
hold your unicorns. We're coming to it. We're coming.
All right. I trust you. I'll allow it.
This whole idea came from a famous allegory about a unicorn laying its head in the lap of Virgin Mary and falling asleep, only to be crept upon by hunters intending to kill it. And if you've read the book, The Last Unicorn novel, you know how significant that allegory is to the world that Beagle has built. They don't really touch on it much in the movie, but it's the whole point of Molly Gru's character. The whole foundation for her existence. I love Molly Gru. The animation begins with the sunrise on the unicorn's forest. Crickets chirping, birds singing, all the sounds of vibrant life. The flute playing over the tranquil scene swells into a symphony as the sun continues to rise and the blue waters flow down the river. And it is beautiful. But we can also hear the unmistakable growl of some unseen beast, which feels out of place to me. I think it's possible this is hinting at the danger that lies hidden in this world the unicorn lives in. But the reality is that it's not the danger that hides from plain sight. It's the unicorn herself, and for good reason. She watches as two hunters ride into the forest for a morning hunt. The elder hunter says to the younger,
I mislike the feel of these woods. Creatures that live in a unicorn's forest learn a little magic of their own in time, mainly concerned with disappearing. Unicorns?
And their conversation is an extremely distilled version of the one they have in the book. What remains the same is the description of how it's always spring in a unicorn's forest, as well as that final moment where the elder hunter calls back to inform the unicorn, wherever it may be, that it should remain hidden, because this world, man's world, is no place for a unicorn.
Stay in your forest and keep your trees green and your friends protected. And good luck to you, for you are the last.
This is a huge revelation because the unicorn doesn't know that she's the last. So understandably, this triggers an existential crisis for the unicorn, who no longer feels at peace in her forest while her people may be hiding from danger or suffering out there somewhere in the world waiting for her to come rescue them. As Beagle describes it in prose.
From that first moment of doubt, there was no peace for her. From the time she first imagined leaving her forest, she could not stand in one place without wanting to be somewhere else. Unicorns are not meant to make choices. She said no, and yes, and no again, day and night, and for the first time, she began to feel the minutes crawling over her like worms.
He says she never minded being alone before because she always knew there were others like her out there in the world. I mean, Darklings can understand this. We understand this. You're never really alone. But now she's tormented by the question, what if I am alone? What if I really, really am? Or what if I'm not alone yet, but I will be if I don't do something?
That's so interesting. Unicorns are not meant to make choices.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about any of it because it's like, is it the innocence? Like the idea that it's an innocent? Is it the idea that it's a feminine?
And that's kind of an important question. I think he does that on purpose to make you think and make you start to ask those questions yourself. Like, why is that the case for unicorns? But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they don't intervene all that much unless something feels unfair, or if the natural order of things is disrupted by unfair actions. Like, they're mostly benevolent observers of nature, or watchmen over nature. Like in the book, he says, she wandered all day among the great beech trees, keeping watch over the animals that lived in the ground and under bushes, in nests and caves, earths and treetops. Generation after generation, wolves and rabbits alike. They hunted and loved and had children and died. And as the unicorn did none of these things, she never grew tired of watching them. So it seems to me that they live where they live. They sort of rule over the natural order of how things are supposed to work, and they don't really get involved unless something is unfair or just isn't right. Like I said, if it disrupts the natural order of things, they then will involve themselves. But then they risk
unicorn would have gotten involved
killed
when the truck crashed in Once Upon a Forest.
Absolutely. I thought about that movie more than once while digging into this. I even wrote they were preservers of nature and protectors of the animals. And like, they're not really. But yes, if there was the toxic gas leak in the forest, she would have intervened and saved all the animals, because that isn't
I relate
natural.
to a unicorn more than I thought I would.
Yeah. He paints them as very interesting creatures, which, I think is why it's such a successful story, because of how deep it goes. And the reason why it's so hard for the unicorn to begin her journey is because this forest is her sanctuary. And she believes in its ability to keep her safe, which mostly comes from a sense of familiarity more than anything.
Oh, I could never leave this. I never could. Not if I really were the only unicorn in the world. I know how to live here. I know how everything smells and tastes and is. What could I ever search for in the world except this again?
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Fully
Once
understand.
you find it, why would I ever leave? I'm a homebody at heart,
Yeah, me too.
Have my groceries delivered to the house. Hell yeah. But this is how the hero's journey always begins, with reluctance. This wouldn't be a true fantasy adventure if she was eager to leave the comforts of home to risk life-threatening circumstances.
I mean, sometimes they do.
There's always a choice to be made between resignation and tribulation. The former promises comfort, yet delivers destruction, while the latter guarantees a period of hardship, but with the potential for restoration in the end.
There are some life lessons in that shit.
But see, all the unicorn knows is what these complete strangers have said. And hunters at that, men no less. So she weighs all logical possibilities and decides not to leave.
What do men know? Because they have seen no unicorns for a while does not mean that we have all vanished.
I mean, no one sees her, and
that was kind of my thought, right? If I'm honest. Like, why are you listening to this random man?
Yep.
Like, never listen to a random man. If I can give you one piece of advice, it'd be that.
Again, it's a distilled version of what's in the book, and the reason she believes him is because his great-grandmother once saw a unicorn, and he's talking to this young guy that's with him, and he is very earnest, and he believes in unicorns, whereas the other guy doesn't. He's too young to know that they are real. And he's like, yeah, those are old stories. Those are old fairy tales. Right. And the guy's like, my great-grandmother saw one. She to her death, she believed that she did see a unicorn, spent an afternoon with a unicorn. In fact, he said something, God, it's just so much. Actually, let me find it real fast.
We're going to read you guys the whole book.
My great-grandmother said only that the unicorn had a good smell. She never could abide the smell of any beast, even a cat or a cow, let alone a wild thing. But she loved the smell of the unicorn. She began to cry once, telling me about it. Of course, she was a very old woman then, and cried at anything that reminded her of her youth. So yeah,
would I.
I do now, which is why we have this show. The thing, too, that you don't really get from the movie is that when a unicorn is close enough to a human to really know that they exist, they can not read their mind, but read their heart.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
they can tell,
horses.
Yeah, they can tell what's in, exactly right. So they can tell what's in their heart. They know a good person when they meet one. And she can just tell that he's not lying.
Right.
So that's why she believes him when he says, this world's no place for you. All the other unicorns are gone. You must be the last one. So please stay, protect yourself, because the world needs you.
It's more than just believing a random man. It is having a deeper knowledge and sight.
Yes. Context. Got to bring the context.
Important.
That's why I have to read the books when we do these movie nights, because there's so much more there that we lose if it's not read. And this is all fine and well. Her logic, her decision to stay, but then she wakes up in the middle of the night, full of anxiety, knowing that she has absolutely no choice but to go and see for herself. So she runs fast and leaves her forest before she can change her mind, promising herself to go quickly and come back as soon as she can. I'm very familiar with that experience of waking up in the middle of the night full of anxiety. It's what's known as a nocturnal panic attack. I didn't know it had a name. I used to wake up with those, convinced that God was real and that I was going to hell.
I mean, hey.
That was a big conversation with my therapist at one point in time. Like, why does this keep happening to me? Why? She's like, you have a lot of unresolved trauma that you need to figure out. Eventually it shifted into things like how old I'm getting and how many responsibilities I have and how I'm a failure. But,
all the standard stuff.
Yeah, you see this kind of thing in movies a lot. People always wake up in the middle of the night and they're all sweaty and stuff.
Wake with a start. I wake with a start, but it usually happens in the morning. I'm really lucky that way.
See, that's the thing. You can't wake up in the morning. It has to be at night. It's nocturnal panic attack for some reason.
Yeah, I have the daytime ones.
And before meeting maybe our favorite character, Mommy Fortuna, there are two others that the unicorn encounters. And I think it's worth noting that they are total opposites themselves. One who recognizes her but can't focus his thoughts, and the other who fixates on her but can't recognize her. In the novel, she meets the man in the field first. But in the movie, Beagle uses the butterfly's revelations to help make the unicorn's final decision to leave, which I think is smart. But it does mix things up and make them make no sense. Speaking of mixed up, I have mixed feelings about this butterfly.
Yeah,
because
me too.
I love the character, I really do, but I don't think they didn't do him justice in the movie.
You kind of said that in part one, yeah.
Yeah, we did. Pacing was weird. It should have been just like a mad dash, a scramble to get all the references out, but they made it take too much time. And that may have been how they did the animation based off of the dialogue and how everything was laid out previously. And then the timing just got on the back end. But who knows? But this butterfly, he flutters along, singing and speaking in verse because, as Beagle puts it, all butterflies know are songs and poetry and anything else they hear. They mean well, but they can't keep things straight. And why should they? They die so soon.
God. Yeah, I saw that quote. I did not read the novel, but I saw that quote and I was like, okay, if that's how it feels all the time, then I am in deep, deep trouble with this movie.
I can't keep things straight. How soon am I going to die? All you know
is all you hear, It's all any of us know is all we hear. That's the thing. But and we all do die so soon.
I am a roving gambler. How do you do?
Hello, butterfly. Welcome. Have you traveled very far?
The first thing that the unicorn says to the butterfly in the book is that the cold will kill him if he doesn't go home. And he says, "Death takes what man would keep and leave what man would lose. Blow wind and crack your cheeks. I warm my hands before the fire of life and get 4-way relief." These are all references to the Yeats poem, John Kinsella's Lament for Miss Mary Moore.
Sounds like Yeats.
There's a line from King Lear in there. And the last bit, though, may be a Beagle original because I couldn't find a reference, but those might just mean different things that he pulled out. But
I appreciate that we're pulling a Wonka. We're layering some literature.
We probably should just do a whole episode about the butterfly and all the references he makes.
I would love to know every
That would take at least
reference.
a half hour, at least. The butterfly's references in the movie are the highlights of his dialogue in the book. He jumps from song to song, seemingly emphasizing introductions and names. He is a roving gambler, and perhaps she is Charlie or Bill Bailey, his wild Irish rose. And the whole time she's trying to get him to say that she's a unicorn, but instead he says,
"Well, you're a fishmonger. You're my everything. You are my sunshine. You're old and gray and full of sleep. You're my pickle-faced, consumptive Mary Jane. Your name's a golden bell hung in my heart. I would break my body to pieces to call you once by your name."
And when she insists, he calls her Rumpelstiltskin.
Rumpelstiltskin.
You're my pickle-faced, consumptive Mary Jane.
Consumptive Mary Jane.
I know that's something. But
everything
I didn't
is tuberculosis.
Everything.
All hail, Mr. John Green.
The reason she's so eager to be recognized in this scene has everything to do with the man in the field. Like I said, she meets him first in the book, and he rocks her world because if the hunters triggered her existential crisis, this man triggers an identity crisis that begins small with just a seed of an idea that grows throughout the rest of the story. By this point in the book, she's traveled through town after town and found no sign of her kind. She's listened to many conversations and nobody has even said the word unicorn in what seems like the better part of a year. And in a world where unicorn sightings are pretty routine, it would be odd to not even hear a single person mention unicorns. It'd be like listening in on dozens of conversations and not hearing a single person talk about their dog or their cat. So for her, this is very strange. But unicorns are also vain, so of course they would be thinking,
why am I not
no
involved?
One talking about me? So growing increasingly anxious this whole time, she does something a little reckless. She spots a man working in his garden, and instead of hiding, she walks up to him and waits for him to notice her. He takes off his belt and tries to capture her, which is no surprise considering she's been hunted by men her whole existence. But that's because it is very allegorical. But the reason she's been hunted her whole life is because they've always known that she's a unicorn and they want to capture a unicorn. This man calls her a mare because he doesn't see a unicorn. He sees a white horse. So like you said, not only is this moment a metaphor for male entitlement, taking off his belt, just slobbering all over,
you're mine.
You're pretty.
I see you, so you're mine.
I'm not letting you get away from me.
That's all that goes into this equation.
You pretty thing. But she's like, if men no longer know what they're looking at, there may well be unicorns in the world yet.
There may be a lot of things. And I would argue that most men don't know what they're looking at. It's
true. And it's funny because Beagle never clarifies if it's the like royal, like humanity men, like mankind, or if it's just men. I think he intentionally leaves it ambiguous for purposes like this, and to make you think.
I wouldn't argue against it being the human condition, but I am especially primed to say, that sounds like a male. That sounds like a guy, a dude.
I think it's both. Because he is making a point here about this slobbery, gross guy's intentions with this horse.
Honestly, even with the butterfly, like it is immediately projecting onto her what he thinks she is or like wants her to be. The man is doing this too.
He'll say anything but.
Yeah, anything but what she is, anything but seeing her for who she is, anything but like deciding to look at her. The butterfly is just going to talk around it in circles, and this dude is just going to go for what he thinks he sees, regardless of what it actually is. Yeah. And I don't know. That speaks to me. That is a very common thing in the world, in life. You'll fill the role of girl. Like, you're a girl, so you'll be girl. And that's not how it goes. My name's Kaylin. You know what I mean? Yeah. My name's Kaylin, and I have Kaylin traits. I don't have girl traits. Some of my traits are girl. Some of my traits are feminine. But I'm not fill in the blank girl. Yeah. Right. And it deeply offends me when anybody like assumes so. And I can see that happening to the unicorn over and over. And it's tenfold what happens to a human girl because it's a unicorn. It's this mythology, this idea. And really when you're creating mythology out of a person, anybody that you know, anything that you're projecting something onto that isn't theirs, you're always going to be let down. You're always going to be disappointed. And 9 times out of 10, men especially, but people in general will also take that disappointment out on the subject of their projection.
Right.
So I'm disappointed that you're not what I thought you were, and I'm going to make that your problem.
Mm-hmm. I was in love with the idea of you. Why are you not the thing I thought you were?
Why aren't you the thing I thought you were? Yeah. I'm gonna be really upset that you aren't. And of course, again, that happens across the human condition. I'm not trying necessarily to gender it, but I am a female. I do identify as a female. I was born as a female, and I've experienced that from men. So it's just I don't know.
There's a lot there. You're right.
Yeah, to watch that happen in a cartoon is really interesting.
I think it was very intentional. I don't think they made a mistake at all. There's a lot of commentary there.
Be what I want you to be. Be the thing that I imagined you were. Please be what I want you to be. And then all the while, the unicorn's just like, I'm just trying to exist as myself.
I just am what I am.
I just am this. I didn't ask to be this. I don't even remember being born. I'm this. You can take that or leave it, but I am this. And that's, it's a really, it's tough when trying to relate to people. It's tough when trying to exist on Earth to say, this is what I am, and to meet needs of other people, to want to, like we talk about being people pleasers, to want to meet needs of people without succumbing to a projection of yourself that isn't you.
Yeah. And within this context, this guy for making her doubt herself.
Yeah. I mean,
him for making her question her identity. Like, you don't want to give him credit, but this is the beginning of what comes completely full circle later in the story. Again, it's an allegory for the human condition and what happens to, I think, a lot of young women in their life.
I mean, constantly, all the time.
It just takes that one man to look at them and say, I know what you are. I'm going to tell you what you are. I'm going to show you what you are.
I know what you want. I know what you want. I know what you need. You actually don't, never could.
Yeah, to look at it from the human condition standpoint, I love the commentary that this is making about, the magic in the world versus how we see it. I constantly wonder if there's actually less magic in the world, or if I'm just not taking enough time to look for it. Am I just no longer accustomed to seeing it?
Yeah, adults versus kids. Kids take the time to look.
Like, is it still there? Do people still see the magic?
I relate to when the unicorn is like, I must find someone who knows me, who has seen others like me. That's me. I'm going through life is neurodivergent, and just, many things about me. I feel like the way I'm oriented, the way that I work, the way that I operate, I'm just like, is there anybody that's like me, or is it just me? Am I the only one? Maybe I am. And then that makes it all the more magical if and when you do find
she's got
match.
To. This whole thing is kind of a double-edged sword, because if people are just so blind that they don't even know what they're looking at anymore, that gives her this glimmer of hope that she needs to continue her journey. Because it could be that they just don't see unicorns even though they're everywhere. But that's when she meets the butterfly, right? She's thinking, I gotta go find my people. I have to go find people who know
somebody has
what
to
I
relate.
am, or
somebody
have
has
seen
to.
people that are like me. And that's why she's so desperate for him to recognize her for what she is and say the word unicorn out loud. Instead, he says things like,
1, 2, 3, oh Larry, not I'll not carry on comfort, look down that lonesome road, for oh what damned minutes tells, or what dotes yet yet doubts. Hasten, mirth, and bring with thee a host of furious fancies, whereof I am commander, which will be on sale for 3 days only at bargain summer prices. Woohoo, big summer blow up. I love you, I love you. Oh, the horror, the horror. And aroint thee, witch, aroint thee. Indeed and truly you've chosen a bad place to be lame in. Willow.
But just when she says goodbye to him, he finally admits what she is. Unicorn. Old French unicorn.
Say it.
Latin unicornus. Literally one-horned. Unus one and cornu a horn.
How long have you been 17?
What's that from?
Twilight.
Oh my God.
What am I? Say it.
Cake?
Oh my God.
You can find the others if you are brave. They passed down all the roads long ago, and the Red Bull ran close behind them and covered their footprints.
The Red Bull? What is the Red Bull?
This could be a clue as to what's happened to her people. It could just be another song. So she continues on, walking man's road, and soon falls asleep right where a traveling carnival wishes to set up camp.
There's always a traveling carnival.
Always. And I'm always here for it. I'll take it every single time. And as Beagle describes this caravan,
if she had not been dreaming of home, she would surely have roused at the sound of wheels and jingling coming closer through the night, even though the wheels were muffled in rags and the little bells wrapped in wool. There were 9 wagons, each draped in black, each drawn by a lean black horse, and each bearing barred sides like teeth when the wind blew through the black hangings. The lead wagon was driven by a squat old woman, and it bore signs on its shrouded sides that said in big letters, Mommy Fortuna's Midnight Carnival, and below in smaller print, Creatures of Night brought to light.
Mommy Fortuna immediately recognizes the unicorn and demands the opinions of her 2 companions. The hunchbacked one named Rook claims to see a dead horse, while the magician Schmendrick claims to see a white mare. Of course, he's lying, but only so he can begin weaving a web of deception against Mommy Fortuna. Because Schmendrick already knows her intention, which is to capture the unicorn for her carnival. Because that's the main event of her show, the menagerie of mythological beasts, all caged and put on display as primitive sideshow spectacles. So she puts a sleeping spell on the unicorn, but there's another bit of magic in there as well, because the unicorn appears to grow a second superficial horn. And we come to know this sort of illusion as Mommy Fortuna's forte, taking everyday average animals and making them appear, to the willfully ignorant, as legendary creatures.
Illusion, trickery,
There's
deception,
a sucker born
mirage.
every minute. Like Schmendrick says, all she can do is disguise. So she can't actually transfigure anything, but she can make a lion look like a manticore.
And honestly, sometimes it doesn't matter whether you're changing things. It just matters that you're changing the perception.
Oh, there's a lot of political allegory in this.
Let me at him.
She can make a crocodile look like a dragon, which speaks 17 languages badly and is subject to gout. She can make a monkey look like a satyr. Ladies, keep back. She can make a snake look like the Midgard serpent, which is the serpentine monster of Norse mythology that wraps itself around the world awaiting Ragnarok. And the thing is, she could have made any old horse look like a unicorn. But to Mommy Fortuna, the real thing is always best for her ego, if not her magic, even if nobody else can tell the difference. She knows that people these days can't see unicorns without the aid of a cheap magic trick. And because people can't see anything for themselves anymore and don't know what to think, it takes the politicians like Mommy Fortuna to shake things up and tell you what you're looking at and make you believe what they want you to believe. But this whole thing here, giving her a second horn, making her a duocorn, it seems like such a throwaway plot point in a fantasy story. But if you look at this from the perspective of identity crisis, this is such a genius move on Beagle's part, because this is a humiliating and devastating experience for the unicorn, whose entire self-concept has already been slowly deteriorating. But the only thing I don't really understand is why the unicorn needs a false horn, if all they have to do is just tell the audience that's a unicorn. Especially considering they can see the creature in the final cage without any magic.
That one is real. That is the harpy Seleno.
With breasts.
with titties. As Beagle describes Seleno,
there sat on an oaken perch a creature with the body of a great bronze bird and a hag's face, clenched and deadly as the talons with which she gripped the wood. She had the shaggy round ears of a bear, but down her scaly shoulders, mingling with the bright knives of her plumage, there fell the hair the color of moonlight, thick and youthful around the hating human face. She glittered, but to look at her was to feel the light going out of the sky. Catching sight of the unicorn, she made a queer sound like a hiss and a chuckle together.
So what did the animators do with this description?
They gave it boobs.
They gave her boobies. 3 of them, in fact.
Yeah.
3 exposed breasts with very thick nipples.
Never want to hear you say those words ever again.
You didn't like that?
I didn't at all.
3 exposed breasts.
To be honest. See, and now you're saying it again.
Thick nipples.
Didn't need that in my life.
Thick nipples.
Sorry, Darklings.
Can that be one of the album titles of one of our throat noise?
I hope not.
Bonus track, thick nipples.
Which one of us?
Both.
Who's to say?
Neither.
I don't
know. But I think this is why they gave her like a monster face and not like an old woman face, because that would have been nudity, like too egregious nudity.
This is a bird creature. This is a bird-like creature. There's a beak involved.
But that's the thing about harpies. They're women creatures with bird bodies.
So basically we talk about monsters being the thing that people fear. The harpy, is that really just men fearing older, like established,
I'm trying to remember
women?
If they're always old. I can't remember. I just know that they're female. So there's at least that fear of strong,
capable females.
violent women.
Capable.
Capable.
The word you're looking for.
I think there's a lot to be said for that, because old Greek mythology. But Celaeno, whose name means something like the Dark One,
yes, is
one of 3 harpy sisters in Greek mythology, who act as ferocious messengers of the gods and are said to carry out punishments for crimes. Basically, if they sick the harpies after you, you don't make it.
No, yeah, it's over.
It's over with.
It's very over.
The other sisters...
we see that.
Yeah, we do. The other sisters are Alo and Ossipet, whose names mean something like storm and swift wing, respectively. So one is powerful, one is dark, and one is fast. Deadly combo.
That's how I like my women.
Powerful, dark, and fast. Fortuna also captured Celaeno in her sleep. Cheap move. But Schmendrick says it was a mistake.
Just as she took you. Oh, she should never have meddled with a real harpy, or a real unicorn for that matter, because the truth melts her magic, always.
The truth melts her magic. I love that line. That says so much
illusion.
About her.
She isn't real. It's all falsity.
And because her magic is weakening, the harpy is going to free herself, and soon. And Schmendrick warns the unicorn better not be caged when she does. And this comes from the book, which is very clear that the harpy's murderous rage will not discriminate between captor and captive. When it gets free, it plans to slaughter them all.
Get rid of her, Mommy!
Fool, be still. No other witch in the world holds a harpy captive, and none ever will. I choose to keep her.
Do not boast, old woman. Your death sits in that cage, and she hears you.
Gives me so many chills. I love it. And to that, Fortuna says, "Oh, she'll kill me one day or another, but she will remember forever that I caught her and I held her prisoner. So there's my immortality, eh?" So
her immortality is the memory of those immortal beings she caged.
I'm gonna do this thing, even though it's gonna kill me, but I'm gonna live in the mind of this immortal creature forever. It's the closest she's ever gonna get to immortality. That's wild. What some people will do. For fame.
Yeah, it sounds
just fame.
Strangely modern, strangely relevant.
I would let a harpy kill me on TikTok for the fame.
Right. Just so the harpy remembered me forever.
Jesus Christ.
Keep your poor shadow.
And this is why once Schmendrick manages to free the unicorn, who then compulsively releases the harpy despite all warnings not to, Fortuna stares her own death in the face, cackling with joy at the knowledge that her magic was enough to hold not one, but 2 immortal legends at once. And they didn't escape on their own. They both had help. Not a bad legacy for a cheap carnival witch. There's a little more to this concept in the novel, because she still says the thing about knowing true witchery, but she's like, do you think this is what I wanted when I grew up? This is what I wanted to be? Do you think this is what I wanted for myself as a career?
God.
She just says that thing about...
I can't go there. Can't think about that.
There's not a witch who hasn't laughed at me for trying to do what I'm doing, but they wouldn't dare capture a harpy and a unicorn. I did that, She's proud of herself. She did it. She's done.
And look where it got her.
Being ripped apart by a harpy in the middle of a carnival.
In a kid's movie.
Yeah, the animation isn't that bad, but in the book, you can infer, you can tell she's just being ripped to shreds.
God. I'll send all your toenails growing inward if you mess with me.
Yeah, I didn't even really get into all the whole Schmendrick and Rook stuff and his multiple attempts to free her using magic.
They want to free these poor creatures that are caged.
I mean, it's an important moment. He tries multiple spells to free her, and it's true magic. I mean, they do. They do
the spell is incorrect. It's wrong, but there is true magic.
There is true magic in it.
You watch that happening.
And it's funny because he's like, well, You deserve to be freed by a master magician, but you're going to have to settle for a second-rate pickpocket.
The intention is right, but the words are wrong, and who among us can't relate to that?
Poor Schmendrick. It kind of sucks because he's like, I was trying to do it using magic. You could have died. I had the keys the whole time.
Couldn't even just pick the lock in the first place?
Yeah, he could have, but we
got to do this with magic. It's got to be magical.
That's part of the novel being self-aware as a fantasy fairy tale structure, because it's like, I'm supposed to free you using magic. That's how this is supposed to work.
Right. Or I could just use this key.
We're going to have to settle for the key. Mm-hmm. And it's so silly. But he even asked her, he's like, if I try again, I might kill you. And she's like, try again. And of course, it still doesn't work. But that's when he has the keys. So
where's Professor Screw Eyes when you need him? Just get the gang together, Get the band back together.
We need to do a villains March Madness type thing.
That would be really fun. That would be really fun.
Yeah.
It is March. How mad are you feeling?
Pretty mad at this point. Pretty insane. I feel like a unicorn's been turned into a human, losing my goddamn mind. There's a lot we could keep saying about all this. We have to leave a lot on the table, unfortunately. But the main things that this sequence accomplishes here is 1, Schmendrick rescues the unicorn and joins her quest. And 2, Mommy Fortuna confirms the existence of the Red Bull and reveals that it belongs to King Haggard.
Yeah.
So the unicorn and Schmendrick continue onward toward Haggard's castle. But before we leave the Midnight Carnival, we have a few more legends to meet. In the novel, there are 9 wagons, but the movie only addresses 6. One of the others is a poor dog that Fortuna makes look like Cerberus, the 3-headed dog that guards the gates of Hades.
Poor guy.
Classic. The next is a small brown spider that she makes look like Arachne of Lydia. As Rook tells a group of gullible peasants, she had the bad luck to defeat the goddess Athena in a weaving contest. Athena was a sore loser, and Arachne is now a spider, creating only for Mommy Fortuna's Midnight Carnival. What he doesn't tell them is that Arachne received her weaving powers from Athena herself, aka Minerva, and then bragged that she was a better weaver than Athena, who challenged her to a weaving competition wherein Arachne wove tapestries that insulted the gods. Even though she won the competition, Athena physically beat her and ripped her work to shreds. And ashamed of her own arrogance, Arachne hanged herself.
Oh.
And Athena took pity on her and transformed her into a spider.
Wow.
That's where spiders come from,
Arachne.
the creation of spiders.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty heavy.
I just want to know where Charlotte is in this whole equation.
Oh, it's like her great. A million more greats.
Great.
Grand spider. Isn't that fun?
Yeah, Wilbur.
And that's all pretty heavy stuff. But the part that really gets to me about this is the small brown spider that believes that it is Arachne from the legend, because it can't tell the difference between its own webs and the ones created by Fortuna's illusions.
Oh no. So the spider itself is deceived.
The spider itself is deceived.
I would assume that the one group that Fortuna couldn't deceive would be the actual entities, the dog, the spider, the
the spiders,
lion.
The spider's
you know what I mean?
The only
they know
one.
what they are.
They do. The spider's the only one.
It gets confused.
And it's funny because this makes the spider an opposite of Lady Amalthea later in the story. It's not, maybe not even an opposite, like the inverted version of Lady Amalthea, because the spider just assumes, well, I can't remember being Arachne. I only remember being a spider. So the stories they're telling about me must be true because my webs are so beautiful. Whereas Amalthea later in the story, she can't remember her past, but refuses to believe that she was a unicorn. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, wait, but she actually was
identity.
A unicorn, and
that's
she actually
the root
was
of
not.
this movie. It beyond
identity.
Just the disappearing magic, the waning, fading magic is identity, and that
mortality.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal to know who you are. It's also a big deal to not let other people tell you who you are.
Right. But the grand finale of the Midnight Carnival isn't the harpy or the unicorn. It's something Rook describes as the demon of old age. saying, "No hero can stand before her. No god can wrestle her down. No magic can keep her out or in. For she's no prisoner of ours. Even while we exhibit her here, she is walking among you, touching and taking."
Touching and taking.
Beagle describes her in haunting prose.
Inside the cage, it was darker than the evening, and cold stirred behind the bars like a live thing. Something moved in the cold, and the unicorn saw Ellie, an old, bony, ragged woman who crouched in the cage, rocking and warming herself before a fire that was not there. She looked so frail that the weight of the darkness should have crushed her, and so helpless and alone that the watchers should have rushed forward in pity to free her. Instead, they began to back silently away, for all the world as though Ellie were stalking them. But she was not even looking at them. She sat in the dark and creaked a song to herself in a voice that sounded like a saw going through a tree, and like a tree getting ready to fall.
And she sings a song of dying and death, as her presence affects the unicorn more than anything she'd experienced so far. Mortal dread.
Yeah. What if you don't know who you are anymore? What if you don't know where you are anymore? What if you don't know what's in front of you anymore? What if you lose your mind?
What if you lose your mind? What if you lose your body? To old age, you know?
I know a thing or two about the fear of losing your body, especially just, different pieces and parts of it over the course of my life. Anybody with a chronic illness can relate to this. What if it's just gone? What if it never gets better? What if it never improves? What if this is just how you are now?
Yeah. And this whole thing, it's just a spell that Fortuna has placed on herself to be the old woman. Mm-hmm. But even after the unicorn realizes this, that feeling lingers with her. Everything that you're saying, she can't shake the feeling that she is dying, even though she is immortal.
Well,
and that's part of the spell.
It's the most ancient fear that any of us have. What if this mortal coil deteriorates? What if I have no more way to interact with the world, Yeah. What if that's the end? What if it's the end of me? What if it's the end of everything? What's the difference between those two things?
Yeah.
If my consciousness, my perception is over, then that's the end.
Yeah. If my mind goes, then where am I?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I? And this is quite possibly why the unicorn has the reaction she does when she and Schmendrick begin traveling together, and he tells her about how the wizard Nikos once saved the life of a unicorn by turning him into a human man, who died old and respected because Nikos could never change him back. Mm. The unicorn says, "The magician did him no service but great ill. How terrible it would be if all my people had been turned human by well-meaning wizards. Exiled, trapped in burning houses. I would sooner find that the Red Bull had killed them all." So that's why she reacts the way she does much further down the road when the same thing happens to her. She's already told Schmendrick, that's a fate worse than death.
Yeah, I'd rather die.
I'd rather go ahead and die as I am, not as something I'm not.
Right.
At least I'll die a unicorn, not one of you.
Hey, are we there yet? Because that's pretty dark.
It's pretty dark, yes. We probably could have said that a few times at this point, but there's more to come.
Oh, that poor old woman. I didn't want it to. I didn't know.
She chose her death long ago. It was the fate she wanted.
The unicorn really doesn't want Schmendrick traveling with her, but their relationship isn't all bad, even if it's depicted in a slightly more amicable way on screen. He briefly mourns the death of Fortuna, and the unicorn reveals that she can feel sorrow, but not regret. The book clarifies that unicorns just don't really have a reason to experience regret, so they don't know what it feels like. Not that they can't, but that they won't. Mm. We learn that Schmendrick isn't a master magician, although he desperately wants to be. And it's never mentioned in the movie, I don't think, but Schmendrick is a lot older than he looks. And that's because he was cursed long ago with immortality. And the only way he'll become mortal again is if he achieves his life's purpose of becoming a master magician. So it's less of a curse and more of a prophecy type of deal. So this makes him another opposite of the unicorn, which I think explains why he's totally unfazed by the idea of a unicorn becoming mortal and eventually dying, because he's begun to romanticize the ability to die. Mm-hmm. Because he's beginning to think, I'm never going to be a master magician. I'll never get there. I'm going to live forever.
And be this.
Whether I want to or not, as this. Right. As this failure of a fuck up. And I have to live with it forever.
Yeah.
At least if you turn human, you get to die. You know what I mean? But he is all flaws, and the unicorn is no flaws because they're pure and white. Holy.
Amen.
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 So yeah. Oh, man. But yeah, just, more playing with character types and opposites and how, everybody's experience is different. Everybody wants different things. Even if you do become something like friends, you can be very different people and still have similar objectives, similar goals.
The grass is always greener.
Grass is always greener, and that's okay. There's all different types and flavors of human existence and human life. Everybody's experience is going to be unique. So yeah, like we've been saying, everybody's a unicorn.
Yeah.
Everybody. All of us.
Everybody. Nobody has ever been you.
Ooh, never.
Never before, and never again.
Tell me about the Red Bull.
The Red Bull? I've heard too many tales to tell you the truth. I've heard that the bull is real, that the bull is a ghost.
And having lived much life, Schmendrick knows a lot of stories, many of which have to do with King Haggard and the Red Bull. Some say the Red Bull belongs to Haggard. Others say Haggard belongs to the bull. Maybe Haggard becomes the bull at night, so they're one and the same, like kind of like a werebull situation.
Okay.
Lots of different possibilities here. And he continues the lore much later in the story, but he reveals then that the bull sleeps by day in a great cavern beneath Haggard's castle, which is said to have been constructed by witches' magic, as Beagle puts it.
A witch built it for him, they say, but he wouldn't pay her for the work, so she put a curse on the castle. She swore that one day it would sink into the sea with Haggard, when his greed caused the sea to overflow. And then she gave a fearful shriek, the way they do, and vanished in a sulphurous puff. Haggard moved in right away. He said no tyrant's castle was complete without a curse.
I love that. I love that. You know how witches just like burst into flames?
Yeah, she's melting. She's melting.
Melting. It's, yeah.
No tyrant's castle is complete without a curse.
I love that line.
God.
I love that line.
I don't know how I feel about it because that feels like a justification of something. That feels like I'll assume this role of tyrant. I'll assume this role. If you look at it from that perspective, it's like an empowering, like, yeah, I can handle whatever that is. That's what I am. Yeah, and then on the other flip side of it, it's like, it's Trump. It's like, curse me. Do your worst. Like,
yeah, sure, this administration's cursed, but what's that to me? It's like, it just gives me more, more
what
reason
president
to do
hasn't
what
been
I do.
cursed? Now
Who
I'm
hasn't
president.
Been cursed?
I'm the greatest man in the world. What greatest man in the world hasn't been cursed? It's like that arrogance, that pompous attitude is just, it's insufferable.
The president's ghosts that live in the White House don't haunt me. I haunt them.
Ew. I'm sure
I can't even do a Trump impression because it's so stupid.
I can't.
But yeah, no, you're absolutely, you're on the money there. This is like a double-edged joke almost as a reference. Like, it's just kind of like, one, it's classic Gothic fantasy. It's, every castle's haunted. Every castle has a curse. Every king is cursed.
That role, yeah.
But
this is the tales
at the same time, it's self-aware, but at the same time, it's because tyrants are tyrants. They got where they got for a reason. They're kings, they're tyrants, they're billionaires. They're these assholes who, like we're saying, are willing to endure a woman's harsh words, a woman's curse, for slighting them and say like, well, it just makes me more of a man if you think about it. It's like,
yeah, there's like the weird arrogance in like collecting that sort of vitriol. Like you're collecting this energy that people are angry at you, whatever, and you're taking it as a badge of honor rather than taking it as a sign of change or taking it in any kind of constructive way. You're just like, yeah, that happens when you're as cool as me. Gross.
I'm just a cool guy,
just a cool guy. So what do you expect?
I'm sort of a man's man.
Cool boys will be cool boys.
Hate that very much. Too. Cool boy. Put that in my Instagram bio.
Very cool boy.
And we'll get to King Haggard and the bull and the castle very soon. But first, we need to meet Molly Grew.
Molly Grew.
Best character in this story. Along their travels, Schmendrick and the Unicorn encounter a band of outlaws led by Jack Jingley, who captures Schmendrick and takes him back to the Robin Hood wannabe Captain Cully.
You are welcome here, sorcerer. Come to the fire and tell me what you've heard of dashing Captain Cully and his band of free men. Have a taco.
Have a taco.
Have a taco. That line is just so...
Have a taco.
The anachronism,
man.
it just, yeah.
It's so good. Which is funny because they're not even having tacos.
And I had to do a double take at was that really what he said? Am I losing it?
No, it's in the novel.
Do I just want a taco?
Yeah, no, it's in the novel. And speaking of the book, this happens very differently in the novel. And this whole portion here has an extremely Monty Python Holy Grail.
I was just about to say that. This
way
feels
more so
like a
in the
page
novel.
out of Monty Python.
Mm-hmm.
I had that written down.
When they arrive back at Cully's hideout, the password has changed since they left. So they keep trying to guess the password until the guards cave and tell them what it is.
Don't you hate when you leave the speakeasy and the password?
Yeah, the password changes in the meantime.
Midnight
But then Cully himself is an egomaniac who doesn't just want the minstrel to sing the songs about his great deeds, which he never did. But it's Cully himself who wrote the songs about the things he never did.
I write the songs that make the whole world sing.
Because he's a poet at heart. And there's another anachronism in this section because he says the minstrel needs to play his songs so he can practice because he's going to be field recorded one day. And his songs are going to be collected. Mm-hmm. And, he desperately wants his songs to live on after he dies because that'll be his immortality.
Well, that's the thing. We all want to matter. We all want to go on beyond that. We all want to go beyond ourselves. And people go about it such different ways. And
so to make a long chapter short, as Beagle did with the script, Schmendrick ends up working a little true magic by conjuring the illusion of Robin Hood and his merry men, walking through the forest like a procession of fairies, tugging at the heartstrings of Cully's men, who all abandon their leader and chase after Robin Hood in pursuit of true, actual, legendary, immortal glory.
Robin Hood and Little John are walking through the forest.
I love this so much. I love this whole thing. Makes me just want to cover Robin Hood. Yeah, I want to so bad now.
It might be timely,
I think it is. I mean, that story goes back so far. That myth is old.
Maid Marian.
Which is so funny because even he gets so mad. He wants to be Robin Hood so badly, even though they're literally like bandits and outlaws and they rob from the poor to give the money to rich men. They do the opposite of what Robin Hood does.
There are a lot of people who are Captain Cully who think they are Robin Hood in this day and age.
That's
just
true.
Simply so many.
And that's why he gets so mad that when they start to talk about Robin Hood,
they do get mad when you call them out. They sure do.
No, Robin Hood's he's a myth. He doesn't exist. Cully exists. Cully is real, and Robin Hood's not real. He gets very upset about it and just feels about it in a bad way. So he writes songs about himself that he hopes will live on, so that people will believe he was Robin Hood, not Captain. I think in the book he says something like, "In the future, nobody will even remember who Robin Hood is. They'll only think of Captain Cully." He's like I said,
misguided, and what a cast of characters this unicorn is running into.
It feels very Pinocchio.
And none of them seem very much like her. That's all she wants.
So Jack Jingley and Captain Cully, the angry capitalists that they are, decide that they could sell Schmendrick into magical slavery. So they tie him to a Douglas fir that Schmendrick accidentally brings to life when he tries a spell to free himself. And the suddenly buxom tree promptly falls in love with him. There's no immortality but a tree's love.
I'll keep the world. Whoa. I will keep the color in your eyes when no other in the world remembers your name.
I love it. It's so good. So good.
I don't know how I feel, honestly.
But the best part about this whole sequence, as we've said, is the introduction of Molly Grew, who is obviously the lover of Captain Cully. Not because she wants to be. I mean, look at the guy.
Who would?
But because this is the path down which life has led her. Pretty similar to Mommy Fortuna. You think I wanted this for myself? No.
Life really be leading.
It really be...
You, yeah.
Picking people up like that.
Life really be leading you. Yeah. Too often. All the time. Constantly. Everywhere you look.
Molly is a tough-talking, no-nonsense kind of gal who's a bit of a softie at heart and enjoys cooking and taking care of others. On the surface, a bit of an unfortunate cliche, but I do have to say that Nick Miller would fall hard for a Molly Grew, and you know it.
Nick Miller would like a Molly Grew
He
type.
would love a Molly Grew. But to me, Molly Grew is one of the most authentic characters I've read in a while, even with the cliches.
Yeah, we were really hyping her up in part 1 for good reason.
But this has everything to do with the existence of unicorns in this universe and the effect that they have on the hearts and minds of young women. See, it's a common practice in this story world for young maidens to walk out into nature and sing a song or recite poetry as a way to call a unicorn to come grace her with its presence and charm her life in some way.
Mm-hmm.
It's beckoning the magic of nature and asking to be chosen.
Mm-hmm.
It's calling out to the universe and begging for rescue. It's wishing upon the shooting star.
I was about to say that.
It's praying,
Hey.
It's all these things that we've done time and time again.
That's me. That's who I have been. More. That is my identity.
Yes.
Hey, magic, come and find me, please.
And I can't remember if it's implied in the story or if I made this connection myself, but it feels like the women who are touched by magic at a young age, touched by unicorns at a young age, live very special sort of witchy lives.
Mm-hmm.
Enchanted lives, yes. But here's the thing. Just because you call out to a unicorn does not mean it will come to you.
No.
Which is what happened to Molly
Grew
when she was young. And that doesn't mean you're being ignored, although sometimes it does happen. There's a scene in the book where the unicorn ignores a young woman doing this, but it's because she knows she doesn't have the right intentions. Mm. But it could also very simply be that the nearest unicorn just didn't hear you. Mm-hmm. Because, they're not God. They're creatures that just live out in the world.
Yeah, it's like it is such a game of dice. It's just, you happen to be here at this time. You happen to be
right place, right time. Yep.
Yeah, right place, right time. Life is such a game of that, being born into the right circumstances, being born into the right moment. Like, there is so much more to that than either of us were probably led to believe as children. Like you're born into privilege or you're not. You're born into the presence of a unicorn or you're not. Like, and it is just status, it's the hand of fate. It's the just such chance and happenstance.
Not just us, but all of our listeners, as well as all of the young women in this universe have been told to believe that exact thing growing up. So colloquially in this universe, to explain why a unicorn might not come to a young woman, this tradition comes with the caveat that you must be pure of heart, aka a virgin.
Oof.
So Beagle uses that old belief that only virgins could tame unicorns. I don't even know if I actually said that or not, but there's the allegory of the unicorn and the virgin. And that became the whole thing where, so only virgins can
incentive
can
to
tame
stay
unicorns.
Pure, which, by the way, virginity is a social construct. Continue.
Absolutely. So, yes, he uses that old world belief that unicorns will come to virgins, and he slaps it onto this tradition like the scarlet letter A as a way for society.
If a unicorn hasn't come to you, you must not be pure.
You must not be pure, exactly.
Barf.
And he uses this as a way for the society of this fantasy realm to shame women into believing that they are unworthy of a unicorn's
It is
acceptance.
Wild to think that purity culture needed any kind of presence in any kind of fantasy world. And here it is.
And here it is. Calling it out. Just calling it
all
like
the
he
way back
sees
to
it.
the 60s. 70s.
He's flipping it on its head. He's not embracing it.
Right.
He's using it as a plot
message to say
it's a message and
how
it's a plot
silly
device.
this is.
Yes.
I mean, it is.
He's calling it out for how ridiculous it is.
He doesn't intend that it be taken as gospel.
And the proof is Molly Grew.
You're endearing me to him. It's happening. I agree with you, Mr. Beagle.
And it's not lost on me here that most women in this universe are constantly trying to earn a unicorn's favor, while most men are busy trying to trick unicorns into a chase so they can hunt them down and harvest their horns. It's all there. It's all there spinning around my noggin. But like we said, Molly Grew. This is why she runs after Robin Hood and Maid Marian, even though she knows deep down it's only a magic trick. Because despite how rough and disappointing her life has been, she's held on to a lifelong wish, a hope, a wonder that she's believed in since she was a child, a dream that one day magic would find her.
I'm about to cry.
I've actually teared up multiple times writing these notes and reading through these notes again. I don't mean like literal magic here, although that's exactly what happens in the story through Schmendrick. But I mean the kind of metaphorical magic that comes from all things unknown and whimsical and mysterious and beautiful.
There's plenty of magic.
Everything that's inside of a unicorn.
There are plenty kinds
There
of
are plenty
magic.
of different types of magic, yes. So that's why Molly Grew comes back. Not just because she knows those apparitions aren't real, but because this so-called magician Schmendrick appears to harness a mere ounce of true magic. So her plan is to go with him wherever he's going. Little does she know that he's simply the bumbling fool who's had the good fortune of rescuing a bona fide unicorn, whose mere presence, by the way, has probably helped him tap into said true magic, however fleeting and random it may be. And that's why when Molly Grew sees the unicorn, all of this is why she begins to break down.
Damn you! Where have you been?
I'm here now.
Oh. And where were you 20 years ago? 10 years ago? Where were you when I was new? When I was one of those innocent young maidens you always come to? How dare you? How dare you come to me now when I am this?
This is loaded. I mean, This is so loaded. Seeing it in my 30s, I feel so differently about it, like than I would have seen it as a child, because I've always been afraid of becoming Molly Grew. I've always feared that moment of like, turn around and look back at your life and it was nothing like you wanted it to be or like you planned it to be. Like that has always been my fear.
Yeah.
And like, while I deeply understand and relate to this moment, there's something else inside me also, because I don't think, regardless of the circumstance, regardless of anything, I don't think I will or could get to a point in my life where I would be like, how dare you come to me now? I'd be like, thank God I wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
Like that would be my impulse. I wouldn't immediately be angry at what I lost necessarily. I mean, I would. I am. I have. I rail at it all the time. But like, I think I would immediately be like, at least you're here now. Like, let's salvage this. Like, what can we still do together? How can I still be a part of this magic? Like, I think so much in terms of that. And that's many reasons. That's Darklings know. Like all of my health issues, like the way that life has treated me to this point. If I find any shred of that magic, any type of magic, I am not questioning it. I'm not like, I mean, I guess sometimes I have a hard time like accepting it or allowing it. But if I find it, I'm not like, I wish you were here sooner. I'm like, you're here now and that's great. You know, like that's my instinct. So it's like a weird push and pull that I feel with this, because I do understand the anger. But
I think a lot of it is
it's never too late, you know?
It's her own guilt. I think it's her own embarrassment of the kind of life
the way that she lived life, because she waited for the unicorn.
She waited for the unicorn, and then when she gave up thoroughly. I think it's
so like
it's
a shame thing.
I think it's how she was socialized to believe that she was going. I think she was like, I'm gonna meet a unicorn. I'm going to, and then she never did. Right. And so it's a shame cycle she's in, and she's projecting the anger onto the unicorn
from. Sure.
But a lot of it's like this regret of the unlived life and the resentment of knowing how her life would have gone. Yeah. If the unicorn had come to her when she was still young and able to do something with her life, I think things would have gone very differently for her. And she knows that. And that's why she's pissed.
Anybody who has we tend to loop back here. Anybody who has deconstructed anybody who has like had a difficult home life or tough time, you know, with their parents, or they've lost things early on, or they didn't have the foundation that they wish they'd had. I guess I can't say I've never had like certain types of anger in those ways. Like, what if I hadn't been inhibited by this? What if I hadn't been inhibited by my health? Like, what if I hadn't, like, you know, there's definitely still anger within me, and I'm sure like a lot of Darklings out there about like the what if. Like,
what if I wasn't such a stupid idiot?
Yeah, if I hadn't been inhibited by whatever this is, that belief or that expectation, that hope that never was realized. Like, if I hadn't been inhibited by that, who would I be?
If I didn't let being a human hold me back, God damn it. That's what it comes down to. But yeah, I think she's beating herself up. It's a lot of projected anger from herself.
And regret is so tough. Like, it's so difficult to, I mean, this is a kid's movie, kind of, sort of, not, it wasn't meant to be, you know, but it became that. And it's like,
kids watched it. Does that make it a kid's movie?
What do kids know of regret except what we teach them? And like, regret is so difficult to grapple with.
But also, like, don't become Molly Grew, but like, be Molly Grew.
Be Molly Grew. Believe it anyway. Mm-hmm.
Believe it anyway. Let go of your childhood belief in whatever bullshit you were fed by people who tried to make you feel a certain way or feel small,
feel less
whatever.
Than.
Feel like you had to be something that you didn't, instinctually
didn't identify
you were
with,
never going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And, all that,
Yeah.
Look at your life now. Look at what potential there still is.
Right.
And go, you know what? Just because I can't see a unicorn doesn't mean it's not there.
Today is the first day of the rest of your life to be the cheesiest, corniest version of me and us that we can be. Like, it's true. They, like, all of that stuff that people say, all of those just like platitudes, like, they bug the out of me too. But like, they are true. I will never be younger than I am now.
That's
Molly
true.
Grew will never be younger than she is the day that she met that unicorn. Like, you are only getting older from this point forward.
And I think that's why Beagle said, the actress put more into Molly Grew than even he maybe put in the novel, because again, it's another parallel with regret. Molly Grew regrets. I feel a lot of feelings for Molly Grew, and it might be because I see myself in her as well. I think anybody probably can who hasn't lived a charmed life in some way. Talking about waking up with the nocturnal panic attacks, joking about how old I am and how many responsibilities I have, but also the things I haven't done. I thought I was going to be like a published, successful, celebrated author in my late 20s, like Stephen King was. That was my fantasy when I was a teenager. I'm going to do that. That's my thing.
Right.
I'm in my mid 30s now, and that hasn't happened yet. And so I kind of do the same thing.
For some people, life doesn't start till you're 40. Like, it
That's
is
true. It's
everybody's
very true.
journey is different, and that
Sometimes
like
the unicorn doesn't come
comparison
to you
and
till
that
you're,
those benchmarks.
You think you're past your prime,
right?
And then your life still
maybe
changes.
your prime is now.
Yeah, prime.
And I'll
is also
shout
just a
that
construct.
forever and always. Yeah. It can be whenever you want it to be, but it also, obviously, there are those elements of luck and like things working out.
It's also not when the clock strikes the right time. It's when you're ready for the moment.
Yeah.
It's when you're ready for the moment.
That's big.
You got to be ready.
Yeah.
See, that's later. That's part of the movie.
We're coming. We're getting there.
That happens later. I knew we were going to get there and start just like the tornado, the swirl.
Yeah.
I knew we were going to have the swirls.
It's taken us there. These are the themes.
We had to get
These are the days of our lives.
It's a good show. I've never seen it, but famous. So yeah, Molly joins them on their quest, walking man's road, and they soon come within sight of King Haggard's castle, which is where Schmendrick says all that stuff about the witch building the castle and the great cavern where the Red Bull dwells. But here's where the film diverges from the book in the most egregious way. In the movie, the Red Bull spots them like it has the goddamn Eye of Sauron, and everything goes to hell really fast. But in the book, there's a whole chapter here where the trio ventures through the town of Hagsgate, which goes entirely unmentioned in the movie.
Okay. Hagsgate.
According to Schmendrick,
this is King Haggard's town, the first one he took when he came over the sea, the one that has lain the longest under his hand. No one goes into Hagsgate, and nothing comes out of it but tales to make children behave. Monsters, werebeasts, witch covens, demons in broad daylight, and the like. But there's something evil in Hagsgate, I think. Mommy Fortuna would never go there, and once she said that even Haggard was not safe while Hagsgate stood. There is something there.
To which Molly replies, I've heard Hagsgate called the town that no man knows. Maybe its secret is waiting for a woman to find out.
Hey, Molly?
Hagsgate is a complicated town, so I can see why it was left out of the movie. It's the opposite of what they expect it to be, because everybody's rich, and the town is clean and flourishing. They just keep it dark so that nobody from the outside of town can see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
The travelers wind up cornered by the townsfolk and are coaxed into a tavern where they're forced to listen to the story of the town's history. And it's very like Over the Garden Wall in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But long story short, Hagsgate is cursed, but not in the way anybody would assume. Their fate is married with that of King Haggard and his castle, because when Haggard refused to pay the witch, she came to Hagsgate in search of help. And when they rejected her request, she cursed them alongside Haggard, saying,
You whom Haggard holds in thrall share his feast and share his fall. You shall see your fortune flower till the torrent takes the tower. Yet none but one of Hagsgate town may bring the castle swirling down.
So the whole idea is that somebody from Hagsgate is going to come in
to cause
the downfall of Haggard.
Collapse.
And when he goes, you go.
Mm-hmm.
And very similarly to the Wheelers from Return to Oz, the people of Hagsgate make up all the stories about their own town to drive away.
They write on their own walls,
yeah.
Beware the Wheelers.
Beware Hagsgate, the monsters of Hagsgate. They spread the rumors to keep visitors away because they weren't willing to risk anybody coming in and disrupting their, the status quo of their town because they weren't willing to risk losing their quality of life. They've lived in excess for so long.
Right.
But just as Haggard has not enjoyed his wealth or his bounty, neither do the people of Hagsgate. They've also stopped procreating. There hasn't been a child born in Hagsgate in over 21 years. The last child that was born in Hagsgate was discovered on a butcher's block on a cold winter's night. Nobody knows whose child it was, but they left it there to die. And the reason they left it there to die is so that the witch's prophecy wouldn't come true and their bounty wouldn't end. The next morning, the child was gone, and everyone believes the child was taken by King Haggard. Spoiler, it was. And the townsfolk also believe that the child grew up to be Prince Lear. Spoiler, it did.
Explains a lot.
So the townsfolk do something totally unexpected. They know Schmendrick and Molly are going to the castle, so they hire Schmendrick to murder Prince Lear and keep the prophecy from coming true. He takes their money, of course, but he has no intention of killing anyone. Still, it's pretty dark.
Pretty dark.
Pretty dark.
This murder plot.
In venturing onward from the town to the castle is when they are officially spotted by the Red Bull, who charges at full speed.
And this hellish red light over everything.
Yeah, I didn't know how to feel about it. He swirls in this red ball
tornado
of fire.
Kinda, yeah.
It's wild.
It reminds me of All Dogs Go to Heaven. The end,
This sort of amorphous, obvious,
even
based
saying that, I got my stomach, my heart dropped.
Made of fire.
The devil.
He's the devil essentially.
He was the color of blood, not the springing blood of the heart, but the blood that stirs under an old wound that never really healed. A terrible light poured from him like sweat, and his roar started landslides flowering into one another. His horns were as pale as scars. An old wound that doesn't heal.
Fun fact, the Red Bull is also blind.
It can smell the unicorn?
Yeah, something like that. It's mysterious.
Well, we know they smell really good.
Please do something!
What can I do? Do you think the Red Bull likes card tricks?
All Schmendrick can think to do is change the unicorn into something the bull won't recognize. He doesn't even believe the spell will work, but it does. The magic responds to him like it does in times of crisis, and it's the magic that chooses what form to give her. Much to everyone's immense grief, except for Schmendrick, the magic makes her a mortal human.
I wish you had let the Red Bull take me. I wish you had left me to the harpy. I can feel this body dying all around me.
I can feel this body dying all around me.
Dude.
Dude, he didn't just make her human, he made her a millennial.
Yeah. Yep, I wrote that quote down also because that's my Instagram bio.
It's like, same. And these animators, they really didn't shy away from nudity.
No, they didn't.
Like using convenient animation to cover her privates.
Right.
Except her butt. Her butt's fair game.
No, that's fair game. Yeah.
Almost everybody has one. So
why is the Red Bull chasing the unicorn?
It's part of the was one of the big questions of the novel, but it's essentially the consensus is that what King Haggard wants, the Red Bull wants. Mm-hmm. It knows what he wants. It knows his heart.
So it's more like a Vecna sort of thing. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it acts on his behalf. He ends up saying something like the bull is his servant or slave.
Yeah.
Like, we're not the same thing, but it does what I want.
Yeah, that's
I think
more
it has
than
something
a slave
to do
because it has like a hive mind. It knows.
It just knows automatically. I think it has something to do with the witch. I can't remember.
Okay, but there's like a curse. This is like a doomed for all eternity. Or you will be cursed for always and eternity.
For always and eternity. Yeah, it's one of those things where
somebody didn't sing to the pig that they fed at the stream a really, really long time ago. Yeah. Many generations and moons ago.
So everything that he's ever wanted, the unicorn. The bull has just done for him. Mm-hmm. And so once he decided, I want all the unicorns, the bull went out and rounded them all up and brought them back to the castle.
What have you done to me? I'm a unicorn. I'm a unicorn.
And everyone's upset now that Schmendrick has changed her into a human, but he swears he can change her back when the time comes. So they continue on to Haggard's castle, where Haggard and his kidnapped son, Prince Lear, stand guard as the sentinels themselves. And this is because Haggard's mental health has been in decline ever since he came into power. He's depressed and existentially drained to the point that he has now removed everything from his life that does not make him happy. Keeping in order of importance, only 4 men-at-arms, who we don't meet in the movie, a court magician, and Prince Lear. Haggard does not give a shit about Prince Lear, and honestly, who would? Book Lear is nothing like movie Lear. He's lazy and soft and never goes on adventures the way a gallant young prince is supposed to. Until he meets Lady Amalthea. He's also betrothed to some princess at this time when they meet, but he breaks off the engagement after meeting Amalthea, who doesn't return his affections at all. Yet. So he becomes a heart-sick puddle of a man who spends all of his time pining after her. First, he becomes a hero and goes on adventures and slaughters all kinds of monsters in her honor to impress her, and he brings her their heads, which do nothing for her. So when that doesn't work...
Didn't ask for that. Did not ask for that, my dude.
I don't want this. What do I do with all these heads? So when that doesn't work, he spends all of his time writing poetry and asking Molly Grew to read it and check for spelling errors. But all that happens over time. First, they have to enter the castle.
This is King Haggard's throne room.
Throne room? This is a cell. This is a tomb. Take us to King Haggard.
I am King Haggard.
And this whole part of the story begins by Schmendrick offering his services as the court magician. And Molly convinces Haggard to replace his current magician, Mabrook, who nearly brings the castle down upon their heads when he's dismissed, but Amalthea stops him.
Master Magician hasn't made him happy, so he should just see what an incompetent one can do.
Yeah, that's a good line. But Amalthea stopping this Master Magician with just a look only adds fuel to the fire of Haggard's own burning curiosity. But he bides his time and spends it trying to figure out what makes this young woman so strange and alluring.
My secrets guard themselves. Will yours do the same?
I don't really relate to this guy, except that he says, there's nothing that I can look at for very long except the sea. And I'm like, wait, that's me. I do that.
Yeah,
I want
dude.
to. Anyway.
God damn it, Beagle. Like,
yeah, why you gotta make him at all relatable?
It's so genius how they seem to bond over staring out at the sea. They're both drawn to it for the same reason.
Yeah.
But neither of them knows that the other one's looking at it for the same reason.
Right.
Because this is where all the unicorns
That's
are.
how I feel about pretty much anybody that feels like they need to look out at the sea. I'm like, we are kindred. There's some reason for this. This necklace that I always wear that's just on my, this has a wave on it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. That's what is on there.
Drawn to the sea. We can't be landlocked.
I can't.
Don't try to landlock me.
I don't like to swim very much. I don't really like to be on the water.
I love
get
the
motion
ocean.
sick in a boat.
I hate everything about it.
Yeah.
But I love looking at it.
But I gotta look at it. If I can't see it, something's wrong.
Yeah, the unicorns are all in the sea, which is strange.
Yeah.
It's strange. I'll admit it.
The
it's
frothing
the same
of the waves, the caps of the waves, they're unicorns.
It was hard to picture reading the novel as well, because it's like
they depicted it. But hey, no wonder I can't look away, I guess.
And this is so Hagrid can look down and see them whenever he's feeling blue, which is all the time. And we eventually learn that this is because he once saw a unicorn in the woods when he was a boy, and that was the last time he remembers feeling happy. So he's just another greedy villain driven by a desperation born from his lack of satisfaction with wealth and power. He needs more and more until there's nothing left and entire lives are destroyed.
Yes.
It's really a good thing that we don't let a man like this run the country. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine the horror?
Can you imagine if it was somebody like this?
That would be horrific.
Made decisions that affect our
Wow.
lives. Hashtag no kings. But even Hagrid is self-aware enough to know that he's probably just welcomed his own doom through the front door. He's a very Shakespearean villain in this way. And I hate it, but it makes me like him a little bit. But he also doesn't care that much if his reign ends. He just doesn't want to be bored or sad anymore. So here we are in the final act, where the crux of this story's darkest edge comes with the passing of time, as the unicorn's identity crisis comes full circle because she remains human for so long that she begins to forget who she is. Molly had warned Schmendrick that the unicorn would lose her mind as a human, and that does appear to be what's happening. Her whole personality changes too. She's forlorn and hopeless. She even holds a grudge against Schmendrick.
Being human.
Calling him the king's poor clown. Yeah,
Being
she's
human,
becoming very,
right?
very human. Yeah. And eventually she's human enough to cry and fall in love with Prince Lear. That's two of the things that unicorns can never do. They can't cry and they can't fall in love. So it's not just that she isn't a unicorn anymore. It's almost as if she never was.
Right.
And here's where I started to wonder. We already kind of know that unicorns represent youthful innocence. So do we think her becoming a human woman is like a metaphor for growing up?
Growing up. I mean, a lot of people do. I feel like that is a very, very common interpretation.
Like literally becoming a woman. She's now subjected. She's subjected to the male gaze now in a way she never was before.
Yes.
Like,
well, she was
still
always.
She was always
Let's
desired.
Get that straight. Yeah.
Unfortunately. But now it's like different. They want her for different reasons.
Right.
Whatever.
Lear wants to be whatever she has most need of. He's like trying to throw himself at her in those ways, but he's never asking her what she needs.
Right.
Like, not really. He doesn't want to know. He wants to just throw whatever he's got at her and hope that impresses her.
Hope it's enough. Yeah. Yeah. She'll like it because I'm the one giving it to her.
Exactly.
And so, maybe it's like she's forgetting who she was when she was young. She's grown up now. She forgets what it's like to be a child before everything changed because she was forced to grow up against her will. I mean, a lot of people forget childhood memories. They forget what it's like to be a kid. We were just talking about losing the magic, trying to find the magic. It's easy when you're a kid and you grow up and everything changes and you're just kind of like,
where did it go?
Yeah, what happened to all that?
There's also the element of like losing your identity in isolation. Like she's not being exposed to her kind. She's around humans. She's exposed to humans. That's what she's experiencing and what she knows. Molly's like lecturing her and like she's not a person, but she is having to assimilate because that's what's expected of her. She's being treated like a person because now she looks like one and all of a sudden everybody else kind of forgets that she's a unicorn. And so why wouldn't she? Like she's losing her identity more so in isolation, I think. It's not really a choice. It's not really, it's just like if you don't have your own kind to show you who you are, to reflect yourself back to you, to have that mirror like experience, if you can't relate to anyone, you do eventually lose yourself.
Yep.
And that can be said of a lot of different, like a whole spectrum of different like you can talk about culture, like you don't have your culture to look back at. You can even in like, honestly, in like different types of pathology, like if you are experiencing like, narcissism, like if you don't have a mirror, so what are you anymore? Like you don't know what you are because you can't look at it. You have no exposure to that. You're losing. So it's like, I don't know, that isolation is a very powerful force. And we all collectively went through it. We just went through it 6 years ago, right about now, in these couple weeks, 6 years ago. We all went through it. We were all isolated in different ways. And everybody wants to forget that even happened because it is so disorienting.
Changed a lot.
It's so disorienting. It's so confusing to not know who you are without this collective experience, to not know who you are without this, you know what I mean? Like a structure.
No, I know what you mean. Well, it's kind of like we were talking about with even the boarding school,
Yeah, you become what you're around. Yeah, you're
in the Hatching from Are You Afraid of the Dark?
The company that you keep.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, but there's also the effect that like, it had on certain kids that went from their culture, from their people where they were raised. They were just like plucked up, put in a different culture entirely. That's the displacement aspect, not to mention the Native Americans who experienced forced assimilation.
Tragic,
just sort of submerged into white culture. But these things have horrible long-lasting effects on your psychological development.
Detrimental.
They affect you in very, very significant ways, and that's what she's experienced. I mean, she's experiencing displacement from her kind, her culture, her world. She felt safe in her forest. She left. Literally her entire existence has changed for the worse.
Right.
And it's the worst possible outcome she could have imagined.
Yeah.
And she's just like, I will never be a unicorn again. So I'm going to isolate.
I'll never be a unicorn again.
Give in to
but
this.
I don't want to be a human either.
Yeah.
Like there's this distinct, like, I don't want to be here.
Like she wants to die now, but she doesn't want to die as a human.
Right.
So it's like,
so she's just stuck in this like purgatory.
Where I've been before is I don't want to kill myself. I just don't want to be alive anymore.
Yeah. No, I've felt that way as well.
It's a very common feeling, but it's just kind of like she's stuck. She's just stuck.
Yeah.
And nothing they do is going to change. Unfortunately, it's Prince Lear's persistence. Not taking no for an answer and continuing on and on.
Preying upon her vulnerable state.
Just because he doesn't want to take no for an answer. And can't understand why she's rejecting him, so he just continues.
I wanted it to be romantic.
It's
like,
not. It
isn't. I'm really sorry. There are a lot of Darklings. There are a lot of people who did see like a romance here.
I really don't think it was meant to be. Maybe.
I don't know if it was either.
The movie, they may have tried to do that, but the novel, it's very clear that he does not deserve her. And her giving in to him over time is a tragedy.
But really,
it is a tragedy.
A tragedy. And I feel so much better, honestly, having this conversation, because as I watched it, I was like, I'm not certain. And again, this is because of the way that they had to distill the novel for the movie, and it's not.
They tried to make it romantic for the sake of time,
for the sake of it being a movie, right? It needs romance, it needs something. So they did try to add
with
that.
Disney, we'll make him a hero. Like it's.
But I knew that it was empty. Like it felt so empty to me, and I felt guilty that it did, because I know so many people love this film. So I was like, what am I missing here? Because you know me, I love romance. I love the idea of romance.
Love a romantic element.
I will never I will never like.
No, this one's hollow.
I'll never love anything more.
It's empty.
And
and that's
there's
the
an
point.
Emptiness to it.
That is the point, because it's so self-aware. Beagle is so aware of what he's doing that he's taking a fairy tale concept where you're supposed to like the prince,
right?
But he's going, all those guys preyed on these vulnerable women.
Yeah, he's making that point.
Look at what this dude's doing to this poor, not even woman, unicorn turned woman. He knows what he's doing, and he
talks about like the way she acts and looks. Like he says he loves her. He doesn't know her at all.
Doesn't know her.
He doesn't know her even a little bit, and I cannot get behind a romance where there is no knowledge of each other. It was
based on appearances and mystery and mystique.
Generic.
That's it.
Yeah, generic. This should be a romance, so this is now happening. But because neither of them know who she is, it doesn't hit.
Right.
That was my main takeaway. Neither of them at this point in the film know who she is. She does not know who she is. So how could she give that to him? He does not know who she is. He also doesn't care. So there's that element. And he's just taking what he wants. And then she's kind of like not powerless to stop it, but why, like she has no like fight. She has no willpower to try and fight it, because
she gets to a point where she doesn't know the difference between reality and a dream.
And she's looking for like distraction.
She's looking for distraction, exactly. She's looking for anything that keeps her from thinking about things that seem like memories, but they're probably not, but they actually are. And it's all very scary.
Anything that's going to keep her from wishing for that other place, that other life. And if I say one thing about this romance, about romance in general, it is the specificity and the authenticity that make love love. That is all that could make love love. It is not you're a woman and I'm a man. It's not you are this and I am that. It's
the Ron Burgundy.
Like
you're a woman. I'm a man.
Oh my God. It just isn't. If anybody believes in romance, please say you agree with me that it has to be. It isn't just a gesture. It's not just filling the shoes or the role. It's not either any gender. It's not about any of that. It is about the authenticity of one soul and another soul. And those two souls finding connection in each other, finding some sort of mirror, some sort of magic, some sort of connection, something that puts them in the same place to feel that way about each other.
Yeah, kind of like the unicorn.
Oh my
Prince
God.
Lear.
I just can't. I'm so sorry. I just can't.
No, I know.
To be fair, I do also feel that way about many classic romances, about many classic fairy tales. I feel that way about like The Little Mermaid, for example. You don't know him. Like,
yeah, no.
You can't talk to him. You know, like that's a gripe that I have. This is not unique to The Last Unicorn. So I can appreciate if Beagle was trying to kind of like hold that up and say, but look at this, how absurd. Look at how absurd this thing is, you know?
He took a lot of motifs and either used he used them for either to service purposes or to totally, service purposes, but also call them out and make fun of them and just kind of point and laugh and go, look how stupid that is.
This trope.
Look how ridiculous this is.
And I agree. And I think that any fairy tale that's just perpetuating that idea of like, oh, you'll meet and you'll fall in love and you'll be like okay, but like with who and why?
Yeah.
And if you can't answer those questions, I don't want to hear about it. Like, because then it's just it's just somebody taking advantage. That's what that is. It's naivete. It's hollow, empty grooming. Even
yeah,
I would go so far as to say
we don't know how young she's supposed to be as a human.
Right. And I can't abide.
She's described as young and beautiful.
If my life has taught me anything, it's this. I cannot abide anything that resembles that. Love is not love if it is not authentic between two authentic people or more.
Absolutely.
Whomever.
Absolutely.
It's just not.
And the reason it may feel kind of hollow and disjointed and doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense, one of the reasons might have to do with queer and transgender symbolism. I'd be remiss not to mention that the unicorn is a queer icon.
Yeah.
Mostly because unicorns have been linked to rainbows since the Victorian era for some reason, but also because of their magical qualities and gender fluidity. Usually. The uniqueness of them.
Yeah.
And The Last Unicorn, as both a film and a novel, has been cited for this symbolism, making its themes of confused identity and self-discovery as significant elements for those who grew up feeling very similar things.
Yeah. And I will get behind that all day long. Do not make me something that I'm not. Do not put me into a role. Do not force me to be this thing. You don't know what I am.
So Lady Amalthea, this whole thing could be viewed as like her giving into a heteronormative relationship just because that means survival.
Right.
Like, if I'm my true self, if I go the path that I feel like I'm supposed to live and go, the Red Bull's going to get me. It's going to kill me. But if I hide in this and I pretend to be this and just be with this man and live out the rest of my life with this guy who says he loves me and is sweet and kind and takes care of me,
relatively
pretty nice, then I'm safe.
Right.
I'm safe from all the dangers of society out there and the things that want to harm me.
Right.
If I am my true self. So that's why a lot of people kind of see this and go,
I get it.
That's me. You know, they see themselves in The Last Unicorn.
And it's tragic. Like you said, it is a complete tragedy.
Yeah, it is.
That anyone not be able to love who they love or be who they are.
So while the unicorn's memory slowly fades, Schmendrick does indeed play the king's poor clown while trying to find access to the Red Bull's lair. Molly becomes the royal cook and befriends a pirate cat who waits until it knows Amalthea is a unicorn before deciding to speak to Molly.
A pirate kitty.
In the book, Molly's like, could you always speak, or has the unicorn's presence given you the ability to do that? And the cat's like, let's just say I never felt like speaking until now.
Such Salem energy.
I know. Well, I do love Salem, but I don't love this cat's whole no cat anywhere has ever given anyone a straight answer thing. Yeah. That's very frustrating. But I do love Salem.
Cheshire Cat. We talked about that.
We did. And this cat, this pirate kitty, warns that Amalthea will soon be all human, no unicorn. And if they wish to stop it, she'll have to take the king's way down to the Red Bull's lair.
Tell me where we must go.
Avast! Hark ye closely, mum. When the wine drinks itself, when the skull speaks, when the clock strikes the right time, only then will you find the tunnel what leads to the Red Bull's lair. There be a trick to it, of course.
This sounds like a riddle out of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Kind of does.
This is a DJ McHale. So Schmendrick and Molly take the unwilling Amalthea to the skull, which is a whole skeleton in the movie. In the book, the skull belongs to Haggard's old chief henchman, whom Haggard killed one day just for fun. And he keeps watch over Haggard's great hall, but as he tells them, he's not as loyal to Haggard as he might have been otherwise. But the skull ends up just playing games with them, laughing at their efforts to get a straight answer out of him.
Oh, it's so nice to have someone to play with.
So Schmendrick decides to try to make the wine drink itself, but Molly couldn't find any. So what did she bring instead? Water.
Here it is.
Her solution is to have him turn the water into wine first, and then make it drink
Jesus
itself.
Christ?
Yep. The book makes a much bigger deal out of this, hinting that it's a cliche. Like, when she says it, he frowns at her, and she's like, well, it's been done. So he's like, yeah, well, there was quite a vogue for it at one time. It's
something like that.
It's really a bit dated these days. And that's really funny to me. But I love the detail that magicians can't make very good wine with magic.
Because it takes time.
I mean, probably, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It takes more of a craft than a spell, you know?
Right. It takes time. You can't.
It takes time.
Like,
it's
you can
art form.
make this with magic, but it's not going to be what it would be if you took the time to do it the way that it's done.
You know, there's something else he says, too. I bet he'd be really against AI. I wonder what his thoughts are on AI. Because he says this. He says,
now you understand it's not going to be very good wine. Van Ordinaire, if that. And it'll be too sweet and...
Because he said it takes time. It's an art form. Yep. But then back to the spider. When the unicorn tries to convince the spider that it's not Arachne and get it to shake off the magic, she's like, yes, she looks at the web it's weaving and she says, it's really very beautiful, but it's not art. And I think that's because it's the illusion. It's magic. Right. It's not her actual web.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he'd be against AI.
I'm sure he would.
I feel safe to say.
Yeah.
I feel safe to say that.
It's not art.
And this wine, it's ordinary. Too sweet. But its quality doesn't matter to a dried up old skull who still remembers the taste of wine, good, bad, or otherwise. And it also doesn't matter that Schmendrick seems to do nothing but make the water disappear. To the skull, it's just as real as his own tongue. If it can speak phantom words, then surely it can taste phantom wine. So they make a deal, the wine for the skull's help. So it tells them that the way to the bull's lair is through the broken clock, which is also a much bigger component of the novel because it chimes at all hours of the day and night, but never seems to chime the correct time. And that's why it's a riddle to think that it might strike the right time because it never does.
So this broken clock isn't right twice a day.
That was a good joke. That was funny.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for saying so, not laughing at all. Not even smiling. Thank you.
That's a very funny joke.
Thank you. I'll be here all episode.
And yeah, this is more or less what the skull tells them, that the clock is never going to do what it wants them to do. It's never going to strike the right time, but that doesn't matter because time is a human construct. If by the right time you mean the right moment, well, the moment's right when you decide it is. So the clock is basically platform 9 3/4, All you have to do is just walk straight on through it. And once you do, you find yourself in the tunnel that leads down to the Red Bull's lair. Yet Beagle couldn't help making a little more existential commentary with this skull and its views of time.
When I was alive, I believed, as you do, that time was at least as real and solid as myself, probably more so. I said 1 o'clock as though I could see it, and Monday as though I could find it on the map. And I let myself be hurried along from minute to minute, day to day, year to year, as though I were actually moving from one place to another. Like everyone else, I lived in a house bricked up with seconds and minutes, weekends and New Year's days, and I never went outside until I died, because there was no other door. Now I know that I could have walked through the walls.
Man.
I'm trying to walk through walls all the goddamn time. All the time, you know?
Time is a flat circle.
Yeah.
I just rewatched the first season of True Detective, so I'm all
really,
up in this
it's the
existential philosophy.
Adhering to that calendar, that way of life, that repetition. Like, I do adhere, I think, or
Bricking
like we said earlier, the
yourself up in
seasons,
the
the cycle, like there's some truth to this, but like the man-made bullshit structure of time, the weekends and the Mondays, no thank you.
My lady, it's time. We're going to find the others now.
Oh, no. No, you don't. Not that one. Unicorn!
In the movie, the skull gets angry that a unicorn is going to pass through the clock, which is when he sounds the alarm. But in the novel, he only does this because he begs them to smash him to pieces, to dust on the hard floor, and end his miserable existence.
The lift of longing, the crash of loss.
Because somehow in death, he's even more trapped in time than he was when he was still alive, which is why he says, I've got time enough for all
What
of
a nightmare.
Yep.
Sorry. What a nightmare.
Pardon my French. What a nightmare.
Let me be clear.
No, I can't imagine. I'll come back as a ghost if it's cool.
But if you're just trapped, if you're just stuck.
I don't think I really want to be like a physical undead object or like entity.
No.
If at least let me
Immortality's
wander.
never been for me. I've never been one for it.
Yeah.
We don't know each other. Immortality and I.
With the alarm sounded, they have to move quickly and pass through the clock, after which Haggard destroys the clock. I don't really understand why he does this, because if he really wanted to stop them, he could have pursued them and teamed up with the Red Bull, right?
Again, rage, anger, like misplaced anger and just like...
I can't tell how much of it is like
faith.
Giving in to the doom, kind of like embracing it of like, well, if this is going to happen, it's going to happen.
This is the end. It's over. It's all over.
And he's kind of like saying, I mean, but he comes down there to stop them because it's like, that's his duty. He has to. But at the same time, he doesn't try that hard. You know, Schmendrick doesn't use magic to get away from him. He could have killed Schmendrick with a sword. He just didn't want to, I don't think. I think it comes down to he's just old and tired, and I think he's going to be glad to be rid of it. To be done with it all.
Everything dies. I want to die when you die. I'm no unicorn, no magical creature. I'm human, and I love you.
But thankfully, Lear, he's become a true hero.
Yeah, he now chooses to be a hero.
He's the only one who makes the decision to stick to their original plan, saying that quests can't simply be
abandoned. Simply be abandoned. Unicorns may go unrescued for a long time, but not forever. The happy ending cannot come in the middle of the story.
And I mean, he's right. It just took him long enough to get to a point where he actually was correct in his decisions, his choices.
A broken clock's right twice a day.
A broken Lear,
except for these,
might become a hero. I don't know. And it's good timing. It's a good thing he does this right here, right now, because the Red Bull arrives on cue, poised and ready to kill Amalthea, because he knows that Haggard knows that Amalthea is a unicorn. Schmendrick channels the magic again and changes her back into her true form. The unicorn flees the cavern and the bull chases her out onto the beach where the tide is coming in. And Schmendrick has learned enough to realize by now that magic can't save unicorns.
Save a unicorn!
That's what heroes are for.
Lear agrees and throws himself between the bull and the unicorn, and although the animation doesn't show it, he is trampled to death.
Oh.
But here's the thing. The unicorn still remembers how it felt to love Prince Lear. So filled with both love and hate, she finally fights back against the bull. driving him into the sea where he once drove all the other unicorns, who return from the water in a stampede that crumbles King Haggard's castle, and Haggard with it.
The unicorns were the only thing that made him happy. And he pillaged, and he plundered, and he rifled, and he looted, and he took happiness from everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And then it trampled him.
And then it killed him.
Because guess what? He didn't make them happy.
He never thought about that, did he?
He never even thought about that.
He never thought, what can I do to make the unicorns happy? What can I do for the unicorns?
Mm-hmm. It's not about what you... Wait. It's not about what the unicorns can do for you.
It's not what you can do for the unicorns.
There you go.
It's what the unicorns can do for you.
Nope. Other way around. Strike that. Reverse it.
Yep. We all know the rest of the film here. The unicorn brings Lear back to life, and then she leaves. And when Lear expresses his desire to see her again, Schmendrick says,
"She will remember your heart when men are fairy tales and books written by rabbits. Of all unicorns, she is the only one who knows what regret is, and love."
But the end is so rushed compared to the novel. Lear leaves just like that. Schmendrick tells Molly to come with him, and she's like, okay, fine. And wham, bam, the unicorn visits Schmendrick one last time to say that he's a true wizard now, as he'd always wished. She says that she's afraid to go home because some part of her is still mortal. And he apologizes, but she says no sorrow will live in her as long as the joy of knowing unicorns are in the world again.
Mm-hmm.
Except for one, which is left up to interpretation. In the book, she says to him,
I will go back to my forest too, but I don't know if I'll live contentedly there or anywhere. I've been mortal, and some part of me is mortal yet. I'm full of tears and hunger and the fear of death, though I cannot weep, and I want nothing, and I cannot die.
Sounds like a lot.
I'm uncomfortable. Because again, there's this purgatory idea. She knows too much and not enough. She knows too much and she can never have enough. And so where does that leave her?
Right. That's why she's even like, I could go home. I'm going to try to go home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually know what I'm going to do with myself. And she has to live with that forever because now she can't die. I mean, she can be killed, but she won't die of old age as much as she may want to at this point. We don't know what happens after it's over. We don't know if she seeks out
too. I can't. Have we ever just sat here like?
We did this with Brave Little Toaster a little
Yeah, that's true. You're right. That's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
About what happens after the credits roll.
Right. Because we're just like, ouch. I guess. Like,
yeah, it hurts.
Ow.
Pain. Emotional anguish.
Emotional damage. That's all I got right now.
The much more extended conclusion of the novel involves Schmendrick and Molly convincing Lear to stay and rule over the land as a good king, for a change, as opposed to his father who was a bad king. Don't be like your father. Don't obsess over the unicorn and let it ruin your life. Breaking that generational curse, that trauma.
Because this king, I mean, it's all about the need to possess something that isn't his. Colonialism. Yep. It's like, this is something that I don't understand. This Tyranny. Is something that is not of me, and therefore I will take it and they will like it. They don't, that's their problem. That whole idea, that whole mentality. Yeah. This is a class war.
Yeah, I mean, so that when it's over, he's like saddling up, like he's like packing, ready to go, and they're like, where are you going? He's like, I'm gonna follow her. I'm going where she is. And they're like, no, you're not. Stop. You're being stupid. That's a unicorn. And he's just, like in the movie, he's like, I love whom I love. It's like, she don't love you, dude. Like she remembers what it feels like to love you, but that wasn't real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
she never really did.
None of this is real, dude. You need to get your shit together.
Yeah.
But he is like 21, so he's young and stupid and doesn't understand how things work. And he doesn't want to be king because he doesn't want to be his dad. And they're like, you can be king and not be your dad at the same time. Like you can be the king.
Right. You can be a different king. Deserves. You don't have to be the king that your dad was. And how many people needed to hear that shit, do you think, throughout history?
Be the king.
You don't have to do it the way they always did it. You don't have to follow the script that was left for you. You don't have to keep the beliefs that harm others. You don't have to keep the beliefs that were handed to you that harm others.
Telling myself that.
You don't have to do any of that. You can do your own thing. You can do your own thing and be a better king than your dad ever was.
Yep.
It's universal. Like you can break the curse here. The buck stops with you. Again, today is the first day of forever. Today is the first day of everything else. It doesn't have to be like it always was.
So now you can live laugh, love. And although Lear is heartbroken, he does eventually agree. He accompanies them to the edge of his kingdom, and as they travel slowly for days, taking their time, beauty and peace return to his realm. With Haggard gone and the curse lifted, the land that had been stuck in a dead winter for generations was now allowed to welcome the new life of spring.
I think of Krista and just like running her hand over the ground and the flowers blooming, like magic, springtime, like things are blooming, life is happening. Like,
what about Fern Gully?
Yeah, I thought about Fern Gully a few times. Early on, I thought we were going to have like a conservation sort of idea, like the last unicorn, the last of their kind, the endangered species kind of angle.
I mean, there is that too. I just didn't think that was necessarily the point being made, but you know, you could write a paper on that. You wouldn't be wrong.
I could go there.
Somebody could do an essay, a college essay.
I'm sure they have.
And, you know, in many ways, like Fern Gully, like we said up top, this is a love letter to nature, to springtime, the flourishing of life, the return of life after hardship, after struggle, after
it's
death.
It's both things.
It's
the return of life, but also the like finite nature of life. Like some things just are finite, and then the things that aren't, you can't explain. Fully. Yeah. Like there's going to be that mystery, that like confusion for someone from our vantage point as a human. Like it's never going to make complete sense.
Yeah, I mean, and the finite things are what's most precious. You know, it's the scarcity.
Right. The fact that something could end is what makes it. Yeah.
The finiteness. How do you say, the finiteness of life? The finitism. I'm sure there's a word there that I can't think of, but like I said up top, it's it's mortality that gives life meaning.
Just ask any vampire you know.
It's coming. You know, like the unicorn has this brush with death, with mortality, with old age. It's wounded, but it's able to then live probably a much more authentic life, even though it's immortal, and it feels like it's wounded, damaged in some way emotionally. But that's because unicorns are pretty superficial. But she's been forced to live something that had a lot of depth. She lived out a scenario that had a lot of substance that impacted her in a way that really makes her no different from the rest of us. She's not this.
She
is a unicorn.
We'd say it a lot, the knowledge of good and evil. Like just
she now has the knowledge of good and evil.
It's here now.
Right.
I have it. I can't unhave it. I can't unknow something.
Right. So her life is no longer this like objective.
The ignorance
this is good. This is
it.
bad. She's not ignorant anymore. She lives a life of like gray matter.
There's
Everything
nuance,
is subjective now.
complexity.
Everything's nuanced and different, and she will never see anything the same way ever again. And that's unfortunate.
Happened to me. Oh boy, did it
everyone.
ever happen to me. Wow.
That happens to everyone. Right. That happened to me as well.
Happens to everyone. It hits some of us harder than others, and that whacked me real hard in my early 20s and continues to whack me.
So, you know, our three themes we talked about: magic, identity, mortality. They make up the story. But these are also three key themes found in all the media that we talk about on the show. But they're also three of the main themes found within the hero's journey. As I said, the unicorn lives out this hero's journey. The hero is always reluctant to begin the adventure, but the inciting event makes it impossible for them to stay put. They learn new things and make friends who aid them along the way, each with their own set of skills they need to overcome certain obstacles. And the whole point of overcoming those obstacles is personal growth, to the point that the hero is permanently changed. They have to change because they've been through too much. They've fought and killed and loved and lost, and they always lose themselves along the way, only to find the truest, most complete version of themselves by the end. And yet, despite this rediscovery of self, things can never go back to the way they were before the journey began, because the hero will never again be that same comfortable, content version of themselves they were at the beginning.
Because something shook them up.
Some of us crave the adventure. Some of us hope it never calls us. But the reason we all love seeing characters live out the same arc time and time again is because it speaks to something deep down inside every single human being. It's probably something to do with evolution. There's probably some
There's something in our biology.
Yeah, there's a very important moment in time when we were evolving that we had to do this, or someone did this, and it just stuck.
I think everyone did this for a time,
We
and
had
then
to,
only the
right.
people that did this survived.
But we all hope that if the adventure does call us, whether we want it to or not, we hope that we'll have the courage to leave the comforts of home, to begin the adventure, and do the things that need to be done. Because if the adventure calls us and we just say no thanks, who knows what kind of evil we're just allowing to persist in the world.
What, villain will you conquer on your hero's journey,
Personally, I've seen enough. There are enough villains in this world.
I agree. That's why we got to take them out. And I would go one step further and, honestly, villains are also complex
unicorn's
and nuanced.
Gonna step up?
Who's to say? I mean, some of them are pretty blatant. Some of them we allow to run our country.
Tyrants.
And then there's the Molly Grew of it all. Like, are you still waiting for your unicorn? Are you looking for your unicorn? Were you looking in the first place? Did you miss it when it arrived? Like, keeping that belief, that hope alive. And that's a really, really hard thing to do now. I feel like that's how we have, that's how we've talked for the past several episodes, honestly. Months and months of this, but like it is very difficult to keep waiting when it seems like there is no unicorn in sight. There is no unicorn in range. Your satellite sonar signal's busted and you can't the unicorns aren't hearing your prayers.
It's there. It's just too far away to hear you. That's all.
Yeah, maybe.
So you gotta
keep it
go
up.
to the
You gotta keep the signal strong. Or you got to go to the unicorn.
Take a few steps.
You got to keep the signal strong so that, when the unicorn arrives, you're ready for it. Even if it is when you're older, even if it isn't when you expected it. Oftentimes it doesn't come when you expect it to. And that's, again, another cliche. We're just hitting you with cliches left and right.
Bam.
Were you ready for that? Were you ready for all these cliches?
What doesn't kill you keeps you strong. I hate that saying. I used to love it. I hate it.
No, what doesn't kill you wounds you.
Wounds you. It weakens you.
God.
It might leave you wiser, but
it's okay to hope. You know what I mean? It's okay to hope. It's okay to believe.
It's okay.
Even when it feels kind of hopeless sometimes, it's okay to keep hoping.
You could argue that the hopeless times are when you need to hope the most.
Mm-hmm. It's a good word. That's our typical word. We've rarely said
standard,
other words.
Standard fare. That's Pretty Dark Adventure. Back to the 80s.
And if somehow you want more of our standard fare, you can find us on social media at That's Pretty Dark Podcast, on Instagram at That's Pretty Dark on TikTok. You can find us on Patreon, patreon.com/TPD Podcast. You can interact with us directly there, or in our inbox, that's Pretty Dark Podcast at gmail.com. A lot of you did reach out about The Last Unicorn, which we so appreciate. We've been getting a lot of traction on Threads even, which our posts go to Threads, and I would like to be more active on Threads, honestly, because it's a fun place, and I feel like the algorithm there is just a little bit different. But thank you for all of the folks that were reaching out about your experiences with The Last Unicorn, the story, what it meant to you, how you... how it absorbed into your consciousness and your life. We both have stories like that, and even though this wasn't one of them for us, you all made us feel what you feel through those stories and comments, and we love that discussion. That's what we're here for. That's what we want to open up and do all the time with everything that we cover. So we appreciate that you all have embraced that, and we can make this little show a place to explore those memories and feelings, however dissimilar or similar they may be.
Yeah, we talk about some difficult stuff. Sometimes I feel
that's pretty dark,
Sometimes I feel out of my depth. I'm not gonna lie, talking about a lot of these themes, because it's just such deep, heavy stuff that they're universal experiences, but it's just nice to have a safe space to sort of explore them and be imperfect talking about them and figure out what they mean.
You guys teach us stuff all the time.
We learn stuff through you guys reaching out and telling us how you feel about it, but we learn stuff in the research as well. The feedback is just,
means a lot to us.
We can't put a price on
because this whole thing started with two of us talking about things that we remembered and that meant something to us, and there are so many more than two of us now. Even though we're the ones on the mic, you're here with us. You're part of this.
So thank you. Thanks for listening.
So
Thanks
much
for reaching
being
out.
here.
Wouldn't do it without you. So
here.
This was a big one. Ooh, buddy, this was a big old unicorn. Big old horn it had there.
A white whale of a unicorn.
A white mare. So thank you for introducing this to us as well, because I don't think we ever would have watched it or even talked about it.
I would have if Logan had her way.
Shouting it from the rooftops. So yeah, bring it on. What else you got? Send us more stuff.
Thank you.
We have plenty more to get to.
Yeah.
And we're going to very soon.
Take heart.
Don't let the bastards get you down.
Whether you are the unicorn or you're looking for one, take heart. You're not alone. Never really.
That's good. We should use that. That's Pretty Dark Podcast is produced by Kaylin Andrews and me, Christian Baxter Mott.
With music by Jonathan Simmons and cover design by Halftone Horror.
You can support our show by supporting our sponsors, or go to patreon.com/TPD podcast to unlock all the Pretty Dark bonus content we have in store.
Please share your experiences and let us know what shows, films, or villains still haunt you from childhood on our socials or at that'sprettydarkpodcast@gmail.com.
For all other information, visit our website, that'sprettydark.com.
Remember, you're never really alone.
So, until next time, sweet dreams, everyone.